up to the third generation of operators on the farm, from grandpa down to the son that's being handed over to now, and we build our business on service. You take care of the customer and they take care of you.
Need seed? Think ProSeed. ProSeed.net. Great seed at a reasonable price.
Beneath their gorgeous exterior, 1-800-GOT-JUNK trucks were designed to be ready for anything.
How about construction site junk?
All you have to do is point.
Retail, grocery store, warehouse, office junk?
Point, 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 point.
How about the monumental junk left after a fire or a flood or a hurricane?
This time, you'll need to do it with your other hand.
Why?
Because the first hand will be tired from all of that other pointing.
I see your point.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
Hi, Chad here from Minnesota Warehouse Furniture and Mattress, located in the heart of Lakes Country. We're the land of over 10,000 sleeps. We have helped our customers and their families rest easy for over 40 years, which is why year after year we've been voted the Lakes Country's best place to buy a mattress. At Minnesota Warehouse Furniture and Mattress, you get the best value on name brand mattresses and the best service. We have a large assortment of mattresses, including memory foam and hybrids. It's worth the drive to Minnesota Warehouse Furniture and Mattress, located in Earhart, Minnesota. No frills, just big savings so you can rest easy.
Welcome to Papa Murphy's.
Hi, can you tell me how I make my delicious new double bacon cheddar pizza?
Wait, are you taking notes?
I gotta tell the kids how my newest limited time pizza's made. So, it's crispy bacon and Canadian bacon with nacho cheddar cheese sauce?
Right, but we do all that.
But then I bake it.
Your secret's safe with me, sir.
Thanks. My kids love my pizza.
Papa Murphy's. We make great pizza so you can make the pizza great. Order the limited time $12.99 double bacon cheddar pizza at papamurphys.com.
So I can buy this Chevy truck for $4,000 less than invoice?
Yes, you can at Gateway Chevrolet in Fargo. Up to $2,000 customer cash or 0% financing for 48 months. Or up to $2,000 loyalty cash on select new Chevy trucks. Shop the savings on all new Chevrolets today at Gateway Chevrolet. Save thousands with 0% for 48 months or 0.9% for 60 months on select Silverados at Gateway Chevrolet in Fargo. Find new roads. Details gatewayfargo.com.
KQWB, West Fargo, Fargo-Moorhead, and KPFX, HD3 Kindred, Bison 1660. Powered by Gateway Chevrolet, Cadillac, Nissan, and Hyundai in Fargo.
We are Buck. And here's what you need to know.
NFL news as Tom Pelissero reporting that the Vikings are about to cut wide receiver Adam Thielen. He will become a free agent. A to Z Sports Nashville is saying that the Titans about to cut center Ben Jones. As for college basketball, Kansas head coach Bill Self went to the hospital to undergo what the school called a standard procedure. Contrary to earlier reports, the school says he did not have a heart attack. He had already been ruled out coaching the remainder of the Big 12 tournament. As for conference tournaments taking place today, we have a couple about to get going. Set to tip off any minute is the Big Ten quarterfinal between Rutgers and Purdue, and coming up in about 30 minutes, it will be the Conference USA semifinal, Middle Tennessee and Florida Atlantic. Major tournament winners from Thursday include the ACC, Miami, Virginia, Clemson, all advancing to the semifinals. And in the Pac-12, it's Arizona and Arizona State moving on to their tournament semifinals. I'm Kevin Wire.
You've got the insiders.
How you play today, from this moment on, is how you will be remembered.
That's what living is. That's right. The 6 inches in front of your face.
Bringing you what you need to know and a whole lot more. Topics you care about, guests you know, and the conversations you came to hear. The Insiders are presented by ProSeed. Need seed? Think ProSeed.
This is your time. Now go out there and take it.
Now, here are the Insiders.
The Insiders.
The Insiders.
The Insiders. Insiders.
Rob Hipp and Andy Rickoff.
Ending the week on a high note. It's Friday, everybody. Welcome on in. It is the Insiders with you here on Bison 1660. I just threw a pen at Micah right before the start of the show, freaked him out a little bit, keeping him on his toes. That's what we do on a fun Friday, a frenzied Friday to finish out the week and head into the weekend. 2-hour tour of some sports talk for you on your Friday afternoon. Myself, Micah Bindi, Ian Longton in here with us again. We're going to call him the Ian the Intern. That sounds good. That's alliteration. I like it. Ian the Intern. And the voice of the Bison, Mr. Rob Hipp.
Welcome in. Hey, when you said don't go where I'm going with this, but you said we're going to end the note on a high week, and I was like, is Willie Nelson already in town? So take that however you want.
Oh, okay. And end the week on a high note?
Yeah, on a high note. Is Willie Nelson already in town?
He's got 2 sold-out shows. I think that's coming up in a couple of months over at in Moorhead at the old Blue Stem over there. Had 1 show sold out in about an hour, and then he's like, okay, I guess I'll do 2, and that sold out too. Maybe you should do 3. Keep on going. He is. I don't know if Willie Nelson's on like my bucket list of must-see artists, but obviously he's a little bit older. Has some great hits. Is there someone, like, maybe it's not Willie Nelson for you, but is there someone that is on your bucket list that's a band or a singer that you haven't seen in person live that you'd be like, I kind of want to see that person or that band before they stop going on tour or before the inevitable happens?
Snoop Dogg.
Okay.
Right away. Snoop
you would
Dogg.
join him on stage, though.
I wouldn't be able to get on stage with him. But that's 2 guys where I was joking about with ending it on what kind of note. That's 2 guys that get away with talking about that, and everyone's like, whatever.
Yeah,
You know?
so they do.
But they do.
I mean, Snoop will do it. I mean, at his concerts, it's like a prerequisite. I think you get it when you walk in. Like, here you go. Here's this thing for you to smoke as well. If you don't, you're going to be escorted outside of the premises.
And if you don't know what we're talking about, just go to Google and type in a couple of
exactly.
things. You'll find out.
Yeah. So, Micah, anybody on your must-see, must-listen-to in-person list?
Metallica.
Ooh,
give me some Metallica.
Say it right. Metallica.
Like in my raspy voice?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Like in, there you go.
Metallica.
There you go. Like the Indiana State or PA announcer, Metallica at the Fargo Dome. They come they've been in Fargo a couple of times. You could see them. That's an easy one to check off the old must-see bucket list. For me, it's twofold. One, I want to see like a concert I really want to go to at Red Rocks. I want to go there in Denver and see it in Red Rocks. Great, obviously, venue for a concert, outdoor venue, too. So just anybody I really like or anyone that's kind of an iconic artist at Red Rocks, I want to go to a concert there. That's kind of the venue for me. And then I've seen a good amount of artists that I really like in person. Probably, an older country one, Brooks and Dunn. I'd love to see them a little bit older. I love some of their music. I think they've already broken up, but Rascal Flatts would be one for me that I haven't seen in person. Probably people rolling their eyes at me on that one. And then they get a bad rap. I want to see Nickelback in person. I'm all for it. I think they're actually coming like on a tour. It's like Nickelback and Brantley Gilbert are pairing up for a tour, which is kind of an interesting combo that's been happening more with country and rock kind of colliding. But for some reason, they get a bad rap. I've always enjoyed the music of Nickelback.
They're not bad. When you started mentioning country, I started thinking immediately who would I go see. One would be Hank Williams Jr., little family tradition on stage. And then secondly, got to see George Strait. My uncle
that's another one I haven't seen in person.
He grew up in South Texas in a town called Pearsall. My uncle used to teach school, and George Strait was in that same school where my uncle taught. And I think we've told this story before, but that would be who I would have to see as George Strait. That would actually be even above Snoop.
Above Snoop.
That would be
what
my
about
number
Snoop
one.
and Strait together?
That'd be awesome. That'd be a new band. Snoop and Strait.
Snoop
what
and
up,
Strait.
playa? Snoop and Strait.
There you go. I still say this about George Strait. He wouldn't be the most entertaining person ever, but a George Strait halftime show has a ring to it at the Super Bowl. Like there's an audience for that one. If you want, they don't really go country very often. I think they've done. Was it Florida Georgia Line a number of years ago? I thought maybe I'm wrong on that, but there's not many country artists that feel like they could do the Super Bowl halftime show. And he's not running around stage. He's not dancing, doing all sorts of crazy things. But you could have a George Strait halftime show, and I think that one would be iconic.
I think it would be one of the most epic because he's a guy that doesn't need to bounce around on the stage and dance and do stuff. When he takes that stage, everybody knows, like, all right, it's George. It's King George.
Yeah.
Guy has more gold, whatever they are, than any other artist, I believe.
And he'd probably bring some cool people on stage with him, I would think. So
yeah,
I'd be
100%.
all for it. There you go. If you got a band or an artist you got to see, or if you're going to that Willie Nelson concert or concerts that are going to be in the area here over the summer, feel free to call us up, or you can text us as well, 701-476-1660, the Epic Companies hotline. You can also text us at that same number, or you can tweet at us at Bison1660, at Rob Hip, at Andy on the AM. Feel free to let us know. That's a cool little topic. Who are the must-see bands or artists for you you want to see before they stop touring or before worse things were to happen? I think there's a lot of people out there that have those bands and haven't been able to see them over the last couple of years. So fun to see Willie Nelson still around doing those shows and out there in the public sphere and here in Fargo, in the Fargo-Moorhead area as well.
And you might get your one of your must-see concerts. Nickelback is going to be in Winnipeg. That's not too far of a drive here from Fargo. June 20th. So if you'd like to go there, Andy Rickoff, up in Canada, do you have your passport?
I believe they're in St. Paul as well. I believe they're playing at like the XL Energy Center or something like that on that tour. So let me know if you see that date. I do have a passport. I could go to the Winnipeg concert as well if I am so inclined. So I could knock that one off the bucket list.
One final just brief chat about, since we're on this kick, about who do we see and who do we like and all that. I mean, you've heard from me from like a rap artist and a country artist. I'm actually going to see a gospel singer named CeCe Winans coming up in a few months. So I'm all over the board.
No
man.
idea who that is.
Yeah, CeCe, she's great, man.
Okay,
she's fabulous. Look her up if you don't have if you've never had a chance. She is a tremendous singer. But CeCe Winans.
Did we find it, Micah?
August 7th there in St. Paul.
Yeah, I got to wait
so if you want
while.
to wait longer.
Right in the fall camp.
Can you wait longer for Nickelback, though? You just get the itch.
I can wait as long as I need. Yeah. After I take a picture, I'm going to tell you to look at this photograph.
Look at this graph.
There you go. Look at this photograph for us. There you go. 11:08 on the program. Fun show for you. A couple of guests lined up. We will, again, like we have been every Friday as their season's been going on here, talk with the head coach of NDSU baseball, one Tyler Oakes, will join us at 11:30 as the baseball team continues their non-conference portion of the season. And, just traveling around to everywhere, Kingdom Come, Kitchen Sink, wherever you got to go to find games. They are doing it here this season, as they always do. On the road again this week. Have flown out to San Marcos, Texas, to take on Texas State. They play today at 6 p.m., and then games on Saturday and Sunday. And next Tuesday, they'll stay in the state of Texas. Why not take on the Texas Longhorns next Tuesday and Wednesday as well down there in Austin?
The Texas State Bobcats. That used to be. There was a joke going on and they changed their name to Texas State because back in the day there was this known around that area that it was the number one party school to go to, and the administration got tired of that mantra. They changed the name because of that to Texas State. That's why.
What was it called before?
It was like Southwest Texas State University.
It wasn't Texas Party School.
No, it wasn't. But that
that's
was
what you were
thing.
meaning it was known as.
Yeah, that's what it was known as in that area. And like everybody, even me, like in high school, I said, "Man, I want to go to Southwest Texas State because blah blah blah." And that was the mantra of it. They changed it. The Bobcats. Our friend Carl Schoening that's joined us here on the Insiders, he was the voice of the Bobcats for a couple of years on student radio.
Fun connection. But Texas State was ranked in the top 25. I think they just fell out this last week. So they're a really good program. Again, Tyler Oakes does not pull any punches on the schedule. They just had Arizona on the schedule. I think Arizona State too, and then you got Texas this next week, the Longhorns. So not pulling any punches on the schedule in the non-con. You're going to get tested when you're at NDSU, especially because you're playing all these games on the road. You're traveling all over the place. We all know you're not going to be getting on Newman Outdoor Field anytime soon. And because of the weather, we got even another snowstorm coming here this weekend. It's supposed to dump a whole bunch of snow on us on probably tomorrow throughout the entire day into Sunday morning. So hunker down, be safe out there if you're driving around, traveling anywhere here tonight into tomorrow, all day around the Fargo-Moorhead, northern Minnesota area. But just another snowstorm, nothing out of the ordinary here, right, Rob?
It's like there's a good old song, Just the Good Old Boys. It's not just the good old boys, it's just the good old snowstorm.
We'll need our Dave Sounder from last week with the snowstorm. And boy, we've got snow. There you go, from Dave Jacobs, 107.9 The Fox. But also at noon today, it is conference tournament time around the NCAA. The Big 12 tournament going in full bore right now down in Kansas City, T-Mobile Arena. And the Kansas Jayhawks are the number 1 seed. They just beat West Virginia last night. They will face off against the Cyclones of Iowa State tonight at 6 p.m. TJ Otzelberger, former SDSU head coach, the head coach of that outfit for the Cyclones, going up against the Kansas Jayhawks. The voice of KU, Brian Haney, will join us on the program, talk about their program. KU, obviously a team that NDSU faced early on in the non-conference portion of the season, and they are going for the very, very difficult repeat repeat champions, won the NCAA tournament a year ago, number 1 seed in the Big 12. If they win tonight against Iowa State, even if they were to lose in the what would be the championship game then of the Big 12 tournament, I think if they win tonight, they have sewn up a number 1 seed and maybe the number 1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. They've had just a tougher strength of schedule versus a school like Houston. And, yeah, I think you go back and look and eager to talk to Brian about this because has there ever been a time in our lives that Kansas hasn't had a successful program?
Not really. They've had some years where it's like, oh, you're ranked outside the top 10. You're the 13th ranked team in the country. Oh, what a bad spot to be. What's wrong with Kansas? That's kind of what it's been. And NDSU and KU they've had quite a few games scheduled, I believe, over these last 5 year stretch. What was it back in the 2019 season when NDSU gave them a pretty good scare, almost won that game, had the lead with about 2 minutes left in it and couldn't quite close it out. And then obviously have played this last year. That game was a little bit more in favor of KU again early on. Young team for NDSU. Went there, didn't quite have the success they were hoping for, but that's a really good KU program. That was, the second game of the season?
Yeah, it was.
After Arkansas?
Yeah. Or did we get started versus?
No, Arkansas was first. I remember that.
It was Arkansas and then Kansas.
Yeah, it was Arkansas. And you talked about the success of this Kansas program, and I know we'll talk more about it later. I didn't know this, but you had mentioned, how tough it is to win back-to-back. I didn't know what school it was. What's the last program to win back-to-back college basketball championships, Micah Bendy?
You're an expert.
The Florida Gators.
Wow, he knew that right away.
I had it too. Yeah.
I didn't know it.
Billy Donovan.
I didn't know it back here. I just researched it.
All right.
Well, at least you're telling the truth there.
I think Ian did know it.
I knew that one. That was Joakim Noah, right? That was his team, yeah.
How many more players on that team could you name?
0.
Al Horford, Corey Brewer. Boom. Got 3 of them. There you go. Got that one for you on lockdown. The Florida Gators. All of those players could have left after that first championship. They decided to come back. That was the reason. They wanted to repeat, do something that hadn't been done in a long, long time, and they accomplished it. That was probably the last time the Florida Gators program was like that elite. They had some good years, not quite to that level, obviously, and Billy Donovan isn't even the coach there anymore. He went to the NBA, and he's been kind of bouncing around there, but that would be the last repeat champion. I don't remember what year it was. Did you have that too, Rob?
Yeah, 2006 and then 07.
I know it was before 2010 for sure, so yeah, be a long time since it's happened to see if Kansas can accomplish it. They got as good of a chance as anybody. This year, the tournament's going to be wide open. There's no real top unbeatable team at the top, it feels like. Kansas is the one real blue blood that's up there. You can say UCLA is a blue blood, and they're up there as well, but they had some down years until these last couple of them. UNC lost last night in the ACC tournament to Virginia. I don't think the Tar Heels are even going to make the NCAA tournament, and they were the preseason number 1. Duke's been up and down, and even Kentucky's been a bit up and down, and Michigan State's more down than up this year.
You think about some of these programs like a Kansas or ones that you just mentioned, and just every year it's just pretty much a given that, yeah, we'll have a good season, we'll play in the tournament, and then even if we lose, we're going to March Madness. We're going to the NCAA tournament.
Right.
It's just
in those other conferences, it's so different than it is in the mid-majors.
Yeah, it's so, and that's why in the mid-majors it's so special. As much as we wanted our guys to win. I mean, you think about an Oral Roberts program and how special it is for them and the record that they've had. So it means a lot more to a mid-major than it does to the high majors.
Yeah, and fans go to the ACC tournament and say you're a fan of Duke and. It's like, oh, we lose this game. Let's go on to the next one. Tournament's coming up here in a couple of weeks or a week and a half, whatever it is. It ends up being the way things will go there at those high major conferences. Also today, we'll go over the NDHSA Class A, the Super A, going on here in Fargo Dome, and the Shack as well on the girls' side. So some great matchups, some really good games in the Class A state tournament that were taking place yesterday, and will be going on throughout the entire weekend as well. Catch you up on that. Some other NCAA tournaments, and also some big news in the world of the NFL. Let's just get it out of the way right now. I know we got the breaking news sound. They're not really breaking news anymore, but we'll admit that Micah Bendy is right with our breaking news sounder here. The breaking news earlier this morning from one Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network. The Minnesota Vikings will be parting ways with wide receiver Adam Thielen after a long
sound effect.
after a long career. Oh, the sigh sound effect. Oh, unfortunate there for one Micah Bendy. Ian's on my side. Hate to see Adam Thielen go. You hate to see it. It's a business decision. I get why it's happening, but you were right. They were going to cut him and just move on from him.
He's got cement blocks for feet right now. He just can't get out of those
That's
brakes anymore.
So disrespectful to a legend.
A legend?
Yeah, he's going to be he's going to be in the Ring of Honor.
Okay, he was, and the keyword was, he was a great player. Now, yes, it was really fun to watch him. He was a great player, but it's time to move on. It is a business. I don't dislike Adam Thielen as a person or a player, but right now I don't want him on the Minnesota Vikings for his cap hit.
Sounds like you dislike him as a person. I'm just going to say it. Just say it.
What happens if he goes to the Cowboys, Mike? I mean, would you... I
would cheer.
You would cheer. I think I would cheer, too. That'd be a nice little pickup, I think, for Dallas.
I think he's still got plenty to give. He was dealing with some injuries last year. Is he the same player he was 3 or 4 years ago? No, he's not, but nobody is. I think he's got plenty left to give to a really competitive team. I think of a team that I know they just won the Super Bowl, and this is an obvious one, but like Kansas City, who's their number one receiver? Is it Juju Smith-Schuster? I mean, they kind of won the Super Bowl because Mahomes and Kelsey are great, but I don't really know if they've got a guy at receiver. Not that Adam Thielen is a number one now in his career, but runs the right routes, he's in the right spot, knows what it means to win. Like, I think he would fit Kansas City well. Really, wherever he goes, I'll be a fan of his, except if he goes to Green Bay or any other NFC North team. If he does that, then he's dead to me, and I'll never cheer for him again.
Is he a number 2, or is he dropped to 3?
He's a 2.
He's a 2?
In my opinion, I think he's a 2. But it was the cap hit. I mean, it was a $19-something million cap hit. He's not worth that anymore. I guarantee you they tried to restructure it. I guarantee you Adam Thielen was willing to restructure it and bring it down, but wanted more years on the back, and probably didn't want to restructure it down to what the Vikings wanted to restructure it down to. And that's a business decision the Vikings have to make. You got KJ Osborne, who kind of has had a coming out party these last couple of years. I don't know if he's a number 2, but he's someone you can rely on. You love TJ Hawkinson, that pickup at tight end is almost like another receiver for you. And you got Justin Jefferson, right? Like, he's arguably the best receiver in the entire game right now. So you're going to be fine on the outside. But Adam Thielen, especially in the red zone, was money. I think you're going to miss that threat in that area of the field. For them, they got to go out and probably find a receiver now in the draft or in free agency that can come in and contribute right away, because I like the guys they got, but if Jefferson goes down with an injury, if Osborne goes down with an injury, what are we relying on then? I mean, you really have just about nobody there. Jalen Reagor, I don't know if he's even on the team anymore. Guys like Jalen Naylor, who they drafted last year, didn't really do a whole lot for me, so probably got to find some sort of depth there just to have some bodies that are a little bit more proven if you're looking to make a serious run. But the end of a Vikings era with Adam Thielen moving on.
Now, mock drafts are going to be very interesting. Do the Vikings take receiver at 23? Because we've seen receiver at 23 for the Vikings. We've seen corner. We've seen edge. We've seen, obviously, the Vikings might just trade back and do the Vikings thing. Trade back with the Bears this time. We didn't trade back with the Bears last year.
We didn't.
We got Packers and Lions last year. Let's do Bears this year.
We let the Packers come up to draft Christian Watson. We let the Lions come up to draft Jameson Williams. So we should let the Bears come up to draft the receiver. We should. They can trade up and draft Jackson Smith, Aniba, or whatever, how you say the last name there, the Ohio State receiver. Let's just do it, and then try and cover those receivers with our below-average corners. It's going to be great. That's how the Vikings roll. But Adam Thielen moving on. I do think receivers not an area of desperate need, obviously, but an area where I'd be drafting one in day 2, a 3rd-round pick, 4th-round pick, maybe early day 3, something like that. I would be looking at receiver if there's someone that falls and you kind of like the skill set there. I get it from Adam Thielen's perspective as well, because if you're thinking from his perspective, yeah, I'll restructure this thing. I like to stay a Viking. I guarantee he probably thought about doing that, was willing to. But also, you look at the wide receiver market for free agents at receiver, it's like DJ Chark, Robbie Anderson. It takes a pretty drastic decline after that. He's probably the best free agent receiver on the market right now, or close to it. Maybe not quite the best, but I think there's going to be some teams out there that line up and say, yeah, we'll take Adam Thielen at a reduced price a little bit. Absolutely. And he probably wants to go somewhere he can win, so it'll take less money.
So, free agent wide receivers, Robert Woods. He had an okay year coming off an ACL.
Yeah.
You have Nelson Aguilar, Sterling Shepard. I would take DJ Chark over Adam Thielen. DJ Chark had a good year with the Lions. Julio Jones, Marvin Jones.
Talk about over the hill, that's Julio Jones. Adam Thielen has more to give than Julio Jones.
Marvin Jones, though. Marvin Jones is a good, solid receiver. Jacoby Myers, a guy that could be up for some money. Then after that, Jamison Crowder, Sammy Watkins, guys
you
that have
haven't
been
mentioned a
bouncing around.
single person that's more talented than Adam Thielen.
Jarvis Landry.
No, not more talented than what Adam Thielen can bring to you right now.
Jacoby Myers is more talented and younger.
No. I would disagree with you on that. I think there's teams out there, like, none of those names are heads and shoulders above what Adam Thielen can bring to you. I think he'd be a good pickup for a team. I think he'd be a great pickup for your Cowboys there, Rob. To pair a CeeDee Lamb, he'd be a great number 2, and hopefully he goes somewhere where he can compete for a championship.
Hey, I'm just still, wondering what are the Cowboys going to do? I'm more worried.
Quiet out there.
Yeah, things have been a little bit quiet, but the news still finds ways to bring them in every single 5 seconds. I'm still wondering what we talked about this. Where's Odell Beckham? What's he going to do? I know that he's off the wagon with a lot of people just because of that 1 year that he had. Could we take Odell over a Thielen? Would that be a good pick?
Yeah, Odell is the name out there. I think everyone's kind of wondering what's going to happen out there. I heard some rumors that Adam Thielen might look at the Cleveland Browns because Kevin Stefanski's out there. I would not be a huge fan of that one. I just don't think that's a team that can really win big this next year with the division they are in, and not really necessarily a huge fan of Deshaun Watson for obvious reasons. But that was the big Vikings news. They have parted ways now with Adam Thielen. It looks like Zadarius Smith has basically asked for his release. The team has not released him yet or granted that. That sounds like a negotiation tactic maybe from Zadarius Smith. Wants a new deal. He only has 1 year left with no guaranteed money. I'm sure he wants more guaranteed money with the injury history he has, so wants to either get a long-term deal or be released. And the team has not granted that yet, has no plans to apparently, but that's kind of an awkward situation. And maybe there's, they've already released Eric Kendricks. I think that was early this week. And moving off of some of the veteran players, I would not be shocked at all if Dalvin Cook could be on that list moving forward. Probably not bringing back a Patrick Peterson who's a free agent. So a lot of the veterans clearing some space, some cap space that is needed for the Vikes.
Well, it would not make sense to cut Dalvin Cook, especially if Darren Wolfson reporting yesterday that the Vikings got a trade offer, even if it was for reportedly a fifth-round pick. You take that instead of just cutting him for nothing.
Yeah.
So.
But moving off of him, moving in a different direction, trading him, whatever it is, that's a name that's been around, and I think Dalvin Cook's got plenty to give. I think he's still got plenty left in the tank, still a very good running back. I understand the devaluation of that position, but he's someone that can do a little bit of everything. They got some younger running backs, too, that, I like Ty Chandler, I like Kene Wangu, but you also got Alexander Madison, who's a free agent. I don't know if you look to bring him back or what. Or maybe you draft somebody, but an end of an era. The Vikings, they brought in Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. He said we're just going to do a competitive rebuild. The first year is definitely competitive. Looks like the second year is going to be more of the rebuild version of it and tearing down the roster just a little bit.
Give me Darius Slayton. Darius Slayton's on this list. He's more talented than Adam Thielen.
I do like Darius Slayton. I will agree with you there. He's been really injury-prone, though, too, lately. Hasn't necessarily, and I know it's because he's younger, but Adam Thielen has accomplished a whole lot more than just about any of those players that you've mentioned. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens with him moving forward and any sort of free agent deal. But we do have head coach Tyler Oakes coming up here in just a little bit. This first hour of the program brought to you by Rick Electric. When you need electrical work, you need Rick Electric. For over 56 years, Rick Electric has been providing excellent electrical services for homes and businesses. Visit them online at rickelectric.com. Feel free to call us up on the Epic Companies hotline as well, 701-476-1660. Or you can watch our shows live on the Horsch Cam, Horsch Farming with Passion online at horsch.com. What'd you just find? You laughed and the microphone was
smirking over there.
Speaking of the Horsch Cam, Brian Smith commenting on our Facebook page on the Horsch Cam, saying they also need a quarterback to throw to these receivers. Okay, I think that's a little far. Kirk Cousins is a pretty darn good quarterback. I don't know if we got to find one.
Conserva Kirk, though. Conserva Kirk. I'm still go back to the very last play of last season. I'm ready to move off of Kirk. I think the franchise is doing the same thing. They're not extending him. We heard there's going to be no 1 year extension, either a long-term extension or just play out the contract, and obviously there's been no long-term extension yet. Next couple of years, I do think they'll find the successor. And I don't hate Kirk. I think he's a serviceable quarterback, but I just don't think you can win big with Kirk Cousins in those biggest of moments. And what are you doing if you're not in to win big, honestly?
So you're okay with being bad for... What if the Vikings are bad for 5+ years, always top 10 draft pick, and they don't get any better?
Well, that would suck, but being in the top 5 is how you... Look at the Bengals. You got Joe Burrow. Look at the Jaguars. You got Trevor Lawrence. They're set. I get it's not necessarily a for sure thing, but is it better to just middle around in the middle of everything and never go anywhere than to be really bad? If you got really bad and all of a sudden you got Caleb Williams and maybe he turns out to be a stud, I'd absolutely take that for a year or two.
Or are we putting blame on Kirk Cousins for the mediocrity, or are we putting it on the defense last year?
It's the whole team. The whole team deserves it. Everyone deserves it a little bit, but no matter what you say, the quarterback position, they get too much praise when you win. They get too much of the blame when you lose. And at the end of the day, he threw it short on the play that defined your season. It was 4th and 8, and he threw it for 3 yards. End of the day, that's what he did. Did he do a lot of great things? Yes, but it all comes down to that last play. That's our last memory, and he was very conservative in the biggest of moments with Justin Jefferson out there.
Yeah, and you hate those moments, too, because I go back to as a Cowboys fans with Romo and that botched snap versus Seattle that cost them the game. So that's what people remember you for. They don't remember for all the greatness. They remember you for those times that you botch big moments.
Got to be great in the biggest of moments, and that's when all the attention and the pressure is on you. We'll take a break. We'll come back. The head coach of Bison Baseball, speaking of some pressure, he got some pressure trying to win some games here in the non-con. We'll talk with the head coach of Bison Baseball, Tyler Oaks, when we come back on the Insiders.
Champions play here.
You're vice president material. You're vice president material.
Bison 1660.
We take great pride in really doing all the research and the work behind the scenes to make sure that our products just work.
We have our own staff member that helps pick the hybrids and the varieties that work in our area. It's meant for you, not for somebody 200 miles away.
We test our seed locally. We produce our seed locally, so we get to see our production fields, where they need to be, and if they work there.
Need seed? Think ProSeed. ProSeed.net. Great seed at a reasonable price.
Hey Bison Nation, Andy Rickoff here, and I just wanted to take a moment to say we absolutely love our Tharaldson Ethanol Broadcast Center. Love being there every day to bring you the very latest with NDSU athletics, but we're not the only ones that like to be in the studio.
Michael Tutsi with us here live in studio.
Scott Anderson joining us, Director of Multimedia, NDSU.
The athletic director's inside the studio. Matt Larson's joining us. I told you we weren't the only ones. Fuel your future and join the growing team at Tharaldson Ethanol today by going online to tharaldsonethanol.com.
The right education at the right time. Bismarck State College is college done right, proud to make a bold impact in our communities and beyond. Bismarck State College, North Dakota's polytechnic institution, is setting the bar a little higher with each success story. We're powering the workforce and empowering families, innovating industries, and energizing our economy. We're right where you need us, with flexible pathways and easy-to-access support. Now is the time to get on the right path to a better career and future. Do college right. Bismarck State College.
Mama. Oh boy, has it been a long winter. And you deserve a girl's night out. It's a Girl Thing, presented by Neutral Vodka Seltzer and Advanced Med Spa. Is April 27th at the Holiday Inn. A night with over 15 different drink samples, a full style show, plus on-stage salon duo showing us the freshest cuts and colors for summer. And Advanced Med Spa with many ways to revitalize your look and your lifestyle. Thanks to Vance Thompson Vision, Waxing the City and Essential Health Skin Renewal. Get your tickets now at itsagirlthingfargo.com.
Hi, I'm Grant Nelson, NDSU Bison basketball player. Whether it's playing basketball or driving in my car, I want to do everything to the best of my ability, on the court and off the court. So when I'm in the car, I up my game with the Drive for Less program from Nodak Insurance. I could save up to 30% on my premium just for driving safely. To me, that's a slam dunk. Download the Nodak Insurance app today.
Shop the largest new vehicle inventory in the area, only at Corwin Auto. Corwin Auto has over 600 new vehicles available, and one of them can be yours. You heard me. Over 600 new cars, trucks, SUVs, and crossovers for you to choose from. With inventory like that, you don't have to settle. Find exactly what you are looking for. Have a trade? Get top dollar when you purchase any new in-stock or incoming unit. What are you waiting for? Head to any Corwin Auto location today, or shop online, corwinauto.com.
Twin Peaks has you covered for Lent. Try the fish and chips bundled with a 22-ounce draft for a steal on Fridays, or reel in one of our other seafood options like blackened fish tacos, shrimp Caesar, and char-grilled salmon. Are you a fan of Twin Peaks? Sign up for the E-Club to stay up to date on all things Twin Peaks and score free stuff. Signing up is easy. Just visit twinpeaksrestaurant.com/peaks-club to get started today. Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
Life is busy, and sometimes families neglect their dental health, which leads to big problems. My friends at About Smiles Dental have added a new doctor to their team and are now accepting new patients. Our family loves the team at About Smiles Dental, and they're so great with our kiddos too. Staying up to date with routine dental visits makes each visit quicker and easier. At About Smiles Dental, their name says it all. Your smile is their top priority. Call now and schedule your family's routine visits at About Smiles Dental.
This is Bison quarterback Cole Payton.
Payton
gap, wants to run, found a gap, touchdown! Oh, mama, what a play!
And you're listening to The Insiders on Bison 1660.
Well, welcome back inside the Tharaldson Ethanol Broadcast Center. Tharaldson Ethanol, located just west of Castleton. Great ethanol facility, produces 175 million gallons of ethanol per year and roughly 400 tons of livestock feed per year as well. Online at tharaldsonethanol.com. By the way, our Bison Bracket Challenge is back. If you're watching on the Horse Cam, you can see part of the prizes you could win if you win our Bison Bracket Challenge, brought to you by Jim Beam and On the Rocks Premium Cocktails. We'll mention more about that when we come back from our next guest we have on here on the Epic Companies Hotline. Go over here onto the phone lines and talk with the head coach of Bison Baseball, one Tyler Oaks. Nice enough to join us here on the program. Coach, off again to the state of Texas this time. Texas State coming up tonight, huh?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, and yeah, it's good to be down here. Good weather, and travel was good yesterday, so we got in probably around 1 and bust to San Marcos from Houston, and got a little workout last night, so things are ready to go.
I'm knocking on wood as I say this, but was this one of the rare occasions where the stars aligned and you haven't had any travel or weather issues up to date?
Yeah, probably. I was a little worried early in the week, kind of looking at some of the weather that's supposed to be hitting Fargo and Minneapolis here in the next couple days too. But yeah, it was smooth. Now I'm just waiting for the back end, maybe something to fall apart, right?
Yeah. You never have a completely full trip back and forth, right? But that's how it goes in the life of college baseball here when you're playing up in the state of North Dakota, up in Fargo. But Texas State, great program. I believe they were ranked top 25 or just outside of it this last week. And another team on this schedule. You guys are not afraid to pull any punches when it comes to the scheduling.
Yeah, they're going to be really good. Obviously they made a good run last year, went to the championship of the Stanford Regional, and took them to the brink of everything going on. And so for us, it's another big challenge on our schedule. And like you said, we're willing to put ourselves up against some of the best and continue to learn about our team. And, obviously we're not where we want to be at record-wise, but still, we've seen a lot of positives from our team. Guys keep competing, and we're learning a lot about our team day in and day out. And that's all you can ask for at this point of the year, is just continuing to compete at a high level and face some quality competition that sets us up well for a conference play here starting in a couple weeks.
Hey, Coach Oaks, Rob here. You already alluded to the question I was going to ask. I know a tough schedule to get started here, but it's an opportunity for your team to grow. Just kind of expand on a little bit. What have you seen from your team, throughout this run so far, and especially getting ready to head into the Lone Star State?
Yeah, I think it's all been great experiences, and I think that's what we're trying to provide these guys is playing in environments that they dream of playing in as a kid growing up, and giving them some opportunities to play against some of the best around, and showing that we can compete at a high level. We really feel like we didn't play real well in the Tony Gwynn Classic, and the back-to-back doubleheaders kind of got us a little bit. But then starting Wednesday against Arizona State, we feel that's a game that kind of got away from us and outplayed them. And then the first two games, too, even at Arizona, the first game Friday, we felt like we beat ourselves and gave them 3 or 4 runs in the first couple innings, and then really felt like we were the better team most of Friday from the third inning on, and then Saturday too, going into extra innings and losing to them in 12 innings. But it's just little things here and there. We keep beating ourselves with a play that's not made, or maybe a leadoff walk that gets things rolling. And that's just all part of continuing to grow as a team and find guys that are ready to kind of be in the bright spot situations, get the big hit at the right time. So we feel really good with how we're playing overall. It just needs to be probably more consistent or put a full game together, because if we do that, the wins will start coming for sure, and we've shown that we can compete with teams that are going to have good years and have good talent on their roster too. And so that's kind of what we're trying to do, is just focus more on the process of things, of going out and playing good baseball, and the rest of it's going to take care of itself as we keep going along here.
You mentioned that Friday game against Arizona, and weren't able to get any of the wins in that series, but fell behind 7-0, came back. You were able to make it a 2-run game, 8-6 the final. You outscored them 6-1 from the third inning on. I know you love the battle back there. You hate losing the game, your competitors out there, but what did you learn about your team when you fall behind early and able to battle back there?
Yeah, I think it shows that, we faced a lot of adversity already this season, and we talk all the time as a team about embracing adversity. Things are going to go wrong, things are going to be difficult, but at the same time, we love it no other way than that, right? So our guys don't back down. Our guys continue to play, and we're really trying to stay kind of process-oriented with it, of just going and having good at-bats, competing at a high level, executing pitches when we need to, and doing the things that we can control. And if we do that, good things will happen. Like I said, it just hasn't been consistent enough to the point where we've bit ourselves in just an inning here and an inning there, a play here or there. That's kind of changed the momentum of games. So those are the things that we need to learn from and continue to improve upon. But overall, like I said, you look at the record of 1-11, and people are like, God, this team's probably not very good. But from a coaching staff perspective, we feel like we're right there, and shoulda, coulda, woulda, but have a couple more wins in that win column too. So we'll keep going to work, and like I said, it'll be another tough challenge this weekend with a really good Texas State team.
Like we said, you guys aren't pulling any punches on the scheduling side. Texas State, a really good program. They were in a regional final there or championship that last year, as you mentioned, out in Stanford, and then you got Texas after that in the midweek next week. So it's a tough stretch here. You mentioned it's 1-11. Do you worry at all about the mental side of it for your guys, of just not getting the wins I think you're hoping to get, knowing it was a tough schedule? How do you manage that as the head coach?
I think it's a delicate balance, but also I think we put these guys in this situation because we knew they could handle it if it came to what we have been doing and maybe not getting the results that we've seen. So I still really like the mindset of our team and continuing to go out and battle and feel like they have something to prove. And now now we're getting to the point where we need to try to put it all together too. Enough of maybe saying the same thing of beating ourselves in an inning or not making a play here and there, and going out and doing it, I think, is the next step. And so I think that's what we'll learn about our team here over the course of the next 10 days on the spring break trip, is who's going to be the guys that can step up and get it done when it matters. But I think our coaching staff has done a really good job too of explaining the challenges and adversity that we're facing, but also the opportunities that we have each and every day. Each day is another opportunity for us to do something special and continue to try to put ourselves on the map a little bit more, and develop a team camaraderie during this journey that we're on, and have this team continue to kind of write their own chapter with NDSU baseball.
Coach, for me, coming from the South, I wasn't used to the weather, obviously, and I know starting out, you guys are on the road a lot. I mean, you don't come home until, I believe, April or so. I just wanted to ask you, did the guys get downtime? How does that look, as far as coming back to Fargo in between these games and then, filling in everything that they need to with their academics and everything else? I know that's a lot that they take on, and they know what it's like as a Bison to do that.
Yeah, it's something you definitely have to embrace. We were gone for 10 days and then come back, and we come back to Newman and we're shoveling out cars from the long trip and everything. So you get humbled really quick too, right? Getting spoiled with some of the weather in places that we're going, and then we go back to the snowbanks. But I think it's part of being a Bison baseball player and the experiences that you have. I think that's the biggest thing, is just them continuing to go and do their thing and not get tired of it, and trying to embrace life on the road. And most of our guys are on online classes, which helps a little bit from the face-to-face standpoint of classroom work. So they're able to stay on top of anything they need academically. And then downtime-wise, it's, this week we'll have Monday as an off day before we play Texas, Tuesday, Wednesday, and there'd be time for some guys to catch up on homework or sleep, or family members or friends that are in town to spend some time with them too. So we try to balance it all that way. But it's definitely, life on the road is something that we're used to, and until you actually experience it, it's probably something that people don't quite understand how much we're actually on a bus or on a plane and going and playing these games. But I know these guys won't have it any other way too.
And head coach of Bison baseball, Tyler Oaks, here, nice enough to give us some time on the Epic Companies Hotline. Big game tonight against Texas State at 6 o'clock. Who's on the mound for you in this one, Coach?
Yeah, so Cade Feeney will start again. Same rotation as last weekend. And we feel like Cade's kind of been a guy that has gotten bit by some bad luck, and we just haven't made some plays for him because his stuff has been really, really good, and he's really competed for us. he just hasn't got the big breaks that he needs. So we're looking for a good start from him, and hopefully be able to go deeper into games than he has. But the pitch counts have been kind of amping up on him, and then also last week was a little bit funky with him being on a couple days of short rest with the Tony Gwynn Classic, him starting on Sunday and then coming back Friday. So he's finally on normal rest, and we're looking for him to have a good start and kind of set the tone for us.
Coming off a 7 strikeout performance there against the Arizona Wildcats in his last time out, Mr. Cade Feeney on the mound for the Bison tonight. Coach, always appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us once again. Best of luck this weekend on the road. We'll see you back here in Fargo at some point.
All right, sounds great. Thanks, guys.
There you go, head coach of Bison baseball, T.O. Nice enough to give us some time once again. No, the record's not what they wanted, not what anyone was probably hoping for at this point of the season, but one, you schedule really tough. A lot of high major opponents in there at their facilities. You're traveling to them, and then all the time on the road. Are they excuses? Yes, because that's just life of baseball players this part of the country, but also it's a reality of the situation.
Yeah, I think it's great, though. When I look at that schedule and you play guys like Arizona, especially as you know about Texas State, and at one point very highly ranked, and UT, it's always fun at Dish Falk, and that's a great experience for these Bison to go down to Texas and to be in that atmosphere and to be involved in a Texas program that has historically had a lot of success over the years. I mean, the folks at UT take a lot of pride in that facility, in those games, so I'm kind of jealous. I wish I could be down there with them calling these guys. I'd love to be on the road with the guys calling games right now.
We know how big football is in the state of Texas. High school football, collegiate football. How big is baseball down there?
Baseball's huge. I mean, you talk about an area within the Houston. We kind of joke around and say it's the Bermuda Triangle of baseball in the Lone Star State, which is Houston. You kind of go up to the Dallas-Waco area and then back to San Antonio, and you find so much talent within that triangle alone, and that's why UT has a lot of success. They pull a lot of guys from that area. Sam Houston does the same thing. Sam Houston's had a lot of success on their baseball program for many years, and it's because of that area. You draw a line, and there's a lot of talent that comes out there.
So wouldn't that be like the opposite of the Bermuda Triangle?
What do you mean?
If it was the Bermuda Triangle of college baseball in Texas, they'd have no talent.
Yeah,
we'd all be missing.
Well, the
talent, the opposite.
No, the talent gets. That's what happens. See, good things get sucked into the Bermuda Triangle. So it's all the best talent gets sucked into the triangle.
I get you.
So the saying is, like, everything's bigger in Texas. We know that football's bigger in Texas. So is that statement true, or are we just blowing smoke that everything is bigger in Texas?
Football, you're blowing a little bit of smoke, honestly.
The bases are bigger. Everything's bigger.
The stage.
Baseball actually is a massive, way bigger baseball when you play baseball.
Yeah, they use it. It's the size of a kickball, to be honest. Yeah. You just don't notice it on the TV screen.
That's why their batting averages are really, really good?
Yeah, it's because they can hit anything from, within a 6-foot radius.
Oh, our jokes really aren't that funny. There you go. Welcome back in. We are here with you on the inside. It's great to have the head coach of Bison Baseball on there, Tyler Oakes. We will talk with Brian Haney, the voice of Kansas basketball, the Big 12 tournament going on right now in Kansas City. ACC tournament. You got your Big East, which is always a phenomenal tournament for you. Obviously, ACC, SEC, Pac-12, Big 10 all going on right now as well. I think there's some more auto bids that will be punched tonight. There were no auto bids punched last night, oddly enough, but there will be some more, I believe, coming up tonight and all throughout the weekend. A Selection Sunday is this Sunday. You'll be able to hear that right around, I think, 6 o'clock is the selection show. Looks like Oral Roberts, by the way, landing somewhere around that 12, maybe even 11 line, possibly, right now in the latest bracketology out there from all those that dive into the bracketology stuff. So it might be on a decent line to get an upset and maybe even have a favorable matchup in round number 2 there for the Summit League.
Yeah, I mean, you got to cheer on the Summit right now. And yeah, I know that there's some history with ORU in the past, but that's all been cleaned up. I think the 3 games this season, you saw these guys just really embracing each other. There was some really good sportsmanship, between these programs this year. Of course, in years past, we all know the story, and we don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But it just shows how both of these programs have matured and grown. And as a guy who calls for the Summit and the Bison, I'm gonna have to go with rooting on ORU because I want to see the Summit League get some success.
Well, the other thing is financially, tournament units. For every game you have a team from your conference in, you get a tournament unit that's dispersed to the entire conference as well. So financially, would be better for the Summit League, and then you get a team that makes a run. You hear the Summit League more; it's better for the league overall. But obviously, we hope that or wish that team that was making that run was clearly NDSU. But with the selection show being on Sunday is also the day that our Bison 1660 Bracket Challenge really kicks off for you, and you can enter in the Bison 1660 2023 Bracket Challenge. It's going to be on our website. You just go to the page, you click on the link that says click here to make a bracket. It will bring you right to it. It's pretty easy, pretty self-explanatory. But if you go on there, you get a chance to make a bracket. You can win our Bison 1660 Bracket Challenge, brought to you by Jim Beam and On the Rocks Premium Cocktails. If you're watching on the horse cam right now, you'd probably actually see my face because it would switch to my face, but Micah can get it back on the main camera, and you can see what some of the prizes are. Got this big insulated collapsible cooler from Jim Beam, and the premium cocktails from On the Rocks. There's a margarita, an old fashioned, a cosmopolitan, and also a espresso martini, all of them made with crafted effin' vodka, E-F-F-E-N, by the way, effin' vodka on that one. But you can win those if you finish in the top 10. You win the insulated cooler and 2 bottles of On the Rocks premium cocktails just for finishing in the top 10. That's all you got to do. And if you are our grand prize winner and you are the champion of the Bison 1660 Bracket Challenge, you'll win those prizes for being in the top 10, but you also win 2 bottles of Jim Beam, a great product there, great bourbon. You can get maybe the Jim Beam Orange that me and Rob love so much. And you might not see it quite so much on the horse cam right now because I couldn't find a great spot to display it, but Micah Bindi is over here as our Vanna White, and it is a stand-up rolling cooler, probably about 3 or so feet tall. Got like the big cooler you can kind of reach in. Phenomenal for barbecues, maybe some family reunions or something grilling out there in the summer. Even has a bottle opener on the side of it as well.
I'd load that thing up half with some good drinks, and the other half I'd throw some deer meat in there and get that thing ready, to keep it cool until I'm ready to throw it on the grill.
Yeah,
That's
some
what I would
burgers,
do.
some brats, something like that as well, and even give you $100 to Sicky's Garage if you are the grand prize winner of the 2023 Bison 1660 Bracket Challenge. I will be live again on our website. You'll be hearing about it a whole bunch. Have to sign up before the first round games. Not the first 4, but before the first round games get going, and clearly you can't sign up until the bracket is released on Sunday. So make sure you sign up for our Bison 1660 Bracket Challenge. We'll take a break. We'll come back, wrap up hour number 1, some news on some events this weekend around the area, and also recapping day 1 of the Super A in the state tournament on the boys and girls side of the state basketball tournament when we come back.
You're home for the Thundering Herd.
Hey, you got any left-handed football?
Bison 1660.
Businesses should know that Consolidated Communications has the only data center in the FM area that is SOC 2 certified. That means Consolidated has tested reliable systems in place to protect your valuable data. That's more important than ever with today's security concerns. Many business insurance companies require SOC certification at data storage facilities. You should work with a local data center that is SOC 2 certified. For scalable, cost-effective data center solutions for your changing business needs, go to consolidated.com/data center.
When it's time to find a realtor, word of mouth is important, and Todd Cattermas with Beyond Realty is a name Bison Nation says often. Todd has helped everyone from coaches and administrators to broadcasters and former players and their families buy homes in the FM area. So many in Bison Nation trust Todd to buy and sell their homes, and you can too. Call Todd Cattermas with Beyond Realty today or visit him at 4832 Amber Valley Parkway in Fargo. Todd is a proud partner and the preferred realtor of NDSU Athletics. Todd Cattermas with Beyond Realty, moving the herd one home at a time.
Don't miss your chance to see country star Michael Ray in Mahnomen. Shooting Star Casino is hosting a stop on his 2023 national tour. Be here Friday, March 24th to hear hits like Kiss You in the Morning.
And I wanna kiss you in the morning.
Think a Little Less.
Just a little more, think a little less.
And Whiskey and Rain. Get tickets now to see Michael Ray, starting at just $27. Book yours at starcasino.com.
Here's your Red River Valley weather update on Bison 1660.
Expect mostly cloudy skies on your Friday with a high around 29 degrees. Overnight, a 90% chance of snow mainly after midnight. Accumulations of 2 to 4 inches possible with lows in the low 20s. This weather update brought to you by Minn Kota Windows. Just when your kids thought it was time to head outside, a cold snap rolls in. Ditch the coat and snuggle up with peace of mind, knowing that Minn Kota's energy-efficient vinyl will block out the brutal cold and save you money. Midwest built, Midwest tough, guaranteed for life.
It's Chris Hansen, and for years we have trusted the experts at Rick Electric. Since 1964, Rick Electric has been the go-to for residential, commercial, and industrial. And right now is a great time to consider having a Generac whole home generator installed. If the power goes out, you'll barely notice because of an automatic seamless transition. For work in Fargo Moorhead, Hawley, Horace, Glendon, Dilworth, Kindred, and everywhere in between, it's Rick Electric at rickelectric.com.
I recommend Rusco to all my family and friends and my coworkers just because I know that they're going to get the same customer service that we received. They didn't try to oversell you, and they just gave you exactly what you needed for what was important to you and your family, and that's how we felt throughout the process with Rusco.
Hi, this is Jeff Olson from Rusco Window and Cabinets. With 4 generations, 70 years, and over 1 million installations by our family, it's easy to see why we're your window and cabinet experts. RuscoWindowCompany.com.
It's Rusco.
Foul on the play. 2 aggressive pizza reaching. Go to the line for 2 wings.
When you're ready to watch the tournament, make the game-winning decision to place an order to Pizza Patrol. Their golden French crust pizza and side orders of breadsticks and wings makes it an easy slam dunk. Call them at 241-9000 or online at 241-9000.com.
Foul on the host. Trying to sneak another slice before everyone else. Not cool.
About a month ago, we had some unexpected plumbing issues. We called Valley Service Mechanical in a panic and were pleasantly surprised with the professional that came to our rescue. He took the time to explain the issues to us, and you could really tell he enjoyed what he was doing and the pride he had representing Valley Service Mechanical.
When your heating and cooling needs help and your plumbing is on the fritz, call Valley Service Mechanical, 701-293-5701. Online at valleyservice.net.
Hear that? The herd is headed your way. You're hearing from the insiders right here on Bison 1660.
First hour of the Insiders on your Frenzied Friday. Brought to you by Rick Electric. When you need electrical work, you need Rick Electric. Whether it be for your home or your business. They've been serving the area for over 56 years and have been providing excellent electrical services for homes and businesses in the area. Visit them online at rickelectric.com. Greg Rick and his crew do a phenomenal job. I'm looking forward to keep on working with them. And if you have any electrical needs, I would definitely recommend the crew at Rick Electric. Been doing a lot of work up by campus with that new Nodec Insurance Football Performance Complex. And the second half of that thing is looking more and more finished every day I go up there and visit up by campus.
Yeah, I drive over there. I always go this little back route kind of by that John Deere office, and then I come around the back, and then I cut through the parking lot. I always see Rick Electric trucks out there. Those guys do phenomenal work, and can't wait to see the overall finished product of the Nodak when they get all that done. It's going to be awesome.
Half of it done, the other half's going to look even better. I'd have to think that's going to be more of the weight room, the meeting rooms, other stuff there for some of the players there, and that's kind of the new era. And it's one of those things you mentioned having more, facilities and the upgrades. Obviously, everyone's going to talk about the FBS, but that is a huge upgrade for recruiting, especially at the FCS level. It's state of the art, and nobody else has something quite like what the Bison have there. Some news about events that were going to happen downtown this weekend. We've been talking to you all week about the St. Patrick's Day pub crawl and that you should get out there this weekend. Well, if you've looked at the weather, yep, we're going to have another snowstorm. So we have decided, everyone has decided, there's supposed to be a St. Patrick's Day parade and everything this weekend. That's all going to get moved to next weekend. So if you were going to do the St. Patrick's Day pub crawl, that's awesome. We appreciate you getting out there, but just mark your calendars for next weekend because that is when the pub crawl will be. It's all been postponed because of impending weather. Don't want anyone out there in unsafe conditions, and probably a lot of the facilities, the establishments might even be closed down themselves for their employees' sake. So we're going to be moving that to next weekend, I believe, along with the parade as well. But it will be next Saturday, the 18th, for the St. Patrick's Day pub crawl. Still at 1 p.m., still all the same locations participating in it, and you can still get the finisher medal at the Old Broadway. Free to participate, must be 21 with a valid ID to participate, but it is free to participate in the pub crawl. Only got to pay for the drinks and food along the stops.
It'd be awesome if it's just like, don't have to pay for anything. Just show up, you're good to go. But that's not how the world works. You got to pay. And look, I'm going to tell you, I've never been in a community. I've been in great communities, and Fargo is tremendous. I've never been in a community that has a St. Patrick's Day parade. So that ought to tell you that everything is good and fun in Fargo.
And they will be having that. Just be next weekend, unfortunately. Stinking weather. I was at my chiropractor yesterday. Yes, I go to a chiropractor. But he had a Facebook memory from just 2 years ago, he said. When he popped up, it was a record high of 75 just yesterday, 2 years ago. and there was no snow on the ground. It was perfect. And I said, that just doesn't compute. It makes absolutely no sense that we'd have no snow on the ground. I feel like we didn't have much snow in January, but we got hit with snowstorm after snowstorm in February, and it just continued on into March. I guess this is the one time, Micah, where Punxsutawney Phil, the groundhog guy, might have actually been right. The one time they might have been right about the extra
groundhog. I gotta have a word with him. He is ridiculous.
Wow, it sounded real scary there, real threatening.
Yeah, that groundhog. I gotta talk with him.
Okay.
Boy, I'll tell you.
Take that, Punxsutawney Phil. Micah Bendy's coming after you. You should do the job next year. We'll dress you up in a bison suit. You can tell us that there's gonna be 6 more weeks of winter or not.
Do I run through like a pile of snow and then tell the news?
Yeah, perfect. That should work. We'll workshop it. We got some time to figure it out.
I'm always going to predict long winter.
Because it seems like it's always long winter. But just 2 years ago, we had 70s and sunny right now. In the
what happened like a week later?
I'm sure we got a snowstorm.
We got a snowstorm like a week later after 75.
Sure we did. But winter is holding on pretty firm this year.
It's crazy you mentioned that because we were talking off air, and now it's 121 days that we have not been above 40 degrees here in Fargo. And that's getting close to setting some records. It's already in the top 10. And it could be moving into the top 4 here. Big thanks to my buddy Dylan over at WDAY. He's the man with the plan that knows all those numbers.
Yeah, I couldn't do the meteorology thing. But also, just say 50% chance of everything. Cover my bases. 50% chance it rains, 50% chance it doesn't.
I just say there's 100% chance that something's going to happen with the weather today.
Yeah.
There's your forecast.
The sun will come up. You might not see it, but it will be up. I guarantee you that one at the very least. Hour number 2, I guarantee you this. Brian Haney will join us, the voice of the KU Jayhawks, number 1 seed in the Big 12 tournament. They got a big game against Iowa State coming up tonight. Also, I talk about the other teams in the Big 12, the best conference in college basketball, and what the Jayhawks will need to do to repeat as champions. All that and a whole lot more in hour number 2 of The Insiders.
Are you having trouble concentrating, remembering details, and making decisions? Are you tired all the time, irritable, or having trouble sleeping? These symptoms can be normal, but when they become overwhelming and last for long periods of time, it's time to seek medical help. If you're wondering if you're suffering from depression or anxiety, Lakeland Mental Health Center encourages you to get a free and confidential online screening at lmhc.org. Lakeland Mental Health Center. Help today for a better tomorrow.
Invest in your community with Epic Companies. Hey, this is Mac. Have you been looking to diversify your portfolio and dive into real estate? We offer multiple types of investing through our mixed-use buildings and entertainment plazas. If you are an accredited investor and interested in hearing more about the investment process and how you can be part of enhancing the quality of life in the area, visit epiccompaniesnd.com to review our investment options. That's epiccompaniesnd.com.
Attention all North Dakota veterans. In a partnership with the Veterans Service Office, Healing Hyperbarics is proud to announce all North Dakota veterans can receive hyperbaric treatments at no cost to them. Whether you're treating for post-traumatic stress disorder, post-COVID long hauler, or chronic pain, or others, Healing Hyperbarics is your one-stop shop for total body wellness. Inquire with your Veterans Service Office for more information on this grant, or find us at healinghyperbarics.com. That's healinghyperbarics.com.
How is it that NODAC insurance agents have all the answers? Well, when you focus more, you can know more. We don't have to worry about what's happening outside the Midwest, which makes it easier to respond to hailstorms in Carrington, fender benders in Fargo, or crop damage in Cavalier. You see, our agents are right here, which means the answers that give you peace of mind are right in front of you. NODAC Insurance. Agents with answers. Visit us at nodacins.com.
At Batteries Plus, we power family road trips. We power bedtime stories. We power our local hospitals. We power connections with friends. We do more than replace batteries and fix phones and tablets. We help our neighbors power their lives. How powerful is that? Visit Batteries Plus for free auto battery testing and free installation too at most locations. See batteriesplus.com for details.
Join Horn Plastics in celebrating 40 years of excellence. As a special thank you to their customers, they're running some amazing promotions throughout the year. For the month of March, sign up for a chance to win a free installation service with a purchase of materials. You pay for the materials, and they provide the labor. Horn Plastics is known for their high-performance trailer and dump truck body liners, including their popular Super Slide bed liners. So if you want the best in the industry, go see them today. To sign up for a free install, visit hornplastics.com.
Make a real resolution this year. Resolve to go far, as in Fargo Marathon Far. The 2023 Essentia Health Fargo Marathon will be here in May, but your someday starts today when you make the commitment to yourself. Whether you're running, walking, or riding, there's an event for everyone from age 3 to 103. 2023 is your year to invest in you. Resolve today by registering at fargomarathon.com.
It's the Cash for Cars event at Gateway Chevrolet. All makes, all models. Sell your ride today. Whether it has 50,000 miles or 150,000 miles, Gateway Chevrolet will buy it. Cars, trucks, and SUVs get cash today. Gateway Chevrolet needs good, clean, used cars, trucks, and SUVs. Sell your ride today, whether it has 50,000 miles or 150,000 miles. Gateway will buy it. The Cash for Cars buying event today at Gateway Chevrolet in Fargo.
KQWB West Fargo, KPFX HD3 Kindred, and K224FD Fargo. Bison 1660, powered by Gateway Chevrolet, Cadillac, Nissan, and Hyundai in Fargo.
And here's what you need to know.
NFL news as Tom Pelissero reporting that the Vikings are about to cut wide receiver Adam Thielen. He will become a free agent. A to Z Sports Nashville is saying that the Titans about to cut center Ben Jones. As for college basketball, Kansas head coach Bill Self went to the hospital to undergo what the school called a standard procedure. Contrary to earlier reports, the school says he did not have a heart attack. He had already been ruled out coaching the remainder of the Big 12 tournament. As for conference tournaments taking place today, we have a couple about to get going. Set to tip off any minute is the Big Ten quarterfinal between Rutgers and Purdue, and coming up in about 30 minutes, it will be the Conference USA semifinal, Middle Tennessee and Florida Atlantic. Major tournament winners from Thursday include the ACC, Miami, Virginia, Clemson, all advancing to the semifinals. And in the Pac-12, it's Arizona and Arizona State moving on to their tournament semifinals. I'm Kevin Wire.
You've got the insiders.
How you play today, from this moment on, is how you will be remembered.
That's what living is. That's right. There's 6 inches in front of your face.
Bringing you what you need to know and a whole lot more. Topics you care about, guests you know, and the conversations you came to hear. The Insiders are presented by Proceed. Need seed? Think Proceed.
This is your time. Now go out there and take it.
Now, here are the Insiders.
The Insiders.
The Insiders.
The Insiders. Insiders.
Rob Hipp and Andy Rickoff.
Welcome back into the Insiders here on Bison 1660. A fun Friday for you to finish out the week. As always, a show brought to you by Proceed, home of the Right Choice and Right Stuff programs, online at proceed.net. If you need seed, think Proceed. Let's jump on over to our Epic Companies hotline. It is March, and that means conference tournaments going on right now, automatic bids being punched, and the big dance coming up here on Sunday with Selection Sunday. The Big 12 tournament going on right now, and for that we bring on the voice of the number 1 seed in the Big 12 tournament, the Kansas Jayhawks. That'd be Brian Haney, nice enough to give us some time on the Epic Companies hotline. Brian, great to have you on, sir. It's tournament time for you guys. Already 1 win and getting ready for another game today.
That's right. It's our favorite time of year here in Kansas, and we're awfully spoiled. I don't know how old you guys are, but 33 straight years of Kansas being in March Madness, and if you included the 2020 year where there wasn't a bracket, we would have been the number 1 overall national seed that year. I'm not saying that braggadociously. I'm just saying we are ridiculously spoiled as Kansas fans down here, because every March, for most of my lifetime, and I'm guessing all of both of yours, Kansas is in the dance. And here's the most ridiculous stat of them all. In 20 seasons under Bill Self, he's never been lower than a 4 seed on Selection Sunday. a 4 seed nationally. That means you're one of the top 16 teams every year for 2 decades straight. So it's our favorite time of year for good reason. We haven't always backed it up, but there's always a lot of excitement this week, and especially on Sunday when the big brackets are announced.
Yeah, we'll focus on the Big 12 tournament here in just a little bit, but like you said, all those years, never lower than a 4 seed. I think maybe this year it's one of the more impressive years for it, too. Maybe not the most impressive, but up there for one of the most impressive because, yeah, it's won the championship last year. You lose a pretty good amount of players, some extremely talented players. Ochai Agbaji, maybe the top one there that moved on from the program. And then this year as well, like, Blue Bloods just haven't been the Blue Bloods, right? Like Kentucky was down for a bit. I know Duke's rebounded nicely here down the stretch, but they were kind of iffy. UNC probably doesn't even make the tournament this year. With the Blue Bloods struggling, Kansas is the one that's been able to hold some steady ground.
Yeah, it's wild to think North Carolina was preseason number 1, and after losing last night, probably won't make the tournament. Kansas, if you look at Calipari at Kentucky, and obviously UCLA's been up and down for a while. And then you toss in Duke that even had a few occasional years where under Coach K they just weren't the same. We've never had that rebuilding year under Bill Self. And it might come next year with as much as this roster is expected to lose. It might. But then again, why would you bet against Bill Self with a 20-year sample size of always finding a way? But I agree with you that this is one of his more impressive coaching jobs. Some argue it might be his best when you consider they lost 75% of their scoring from a national championship team, 2 NBA lottery picks, or one was a lottery pick, one was a first-round pick. You had David McCormick, who should have been the most outstanding player of the Final Four a year ago. He was the true back-to-the-basket big man that this current team lacks. And you had the best sixth man in the entire tournament, Remy Martin, who was a 2,000-point career scorer. And you lose all of that, and yet here they sit 3 days away from Selection Sunday, and they've got a chance, if they were to win tonight, many feel they may have done enough to secure the number 1 overall national seed. Now, I know Houston obviously has 4 fewer losses, but when you look at quad 1 wins, there's just no comparison. Kansas with 12 more. Jayhawks have a chance to finish with a record of quad 1 wins nationally. And so it's amazing to see what they've done in college basketball's best conference. They also scheduled very ambitiously in November and December, and were very impressive with what they did in the non-con. And so to see him turn in a season like that, Coach Self, after everything they lost a year ago, having to rebuild it with a key transfer portal piece in Kevin McCullough from Texas Tech, a phenomenal freshman in Grady Dick, who projects to be another lottery pick, by the way, and to be right back here on the 1 line, right back here trying to defend a national title, something that hasn't been done in college basketball since 06-07 with Billy Donovan in Florida. Not many would have seen this coming. We thought Kansas would be very good this year. We thought Jalen Wilson could step into a star power, Big 12 Player of the Year type role. But to see Kansas, if not the one of ones, certainly in the top 2 come Selection Sunday, wow. I mean, that is a tremendous coaching job when you're replacing 75% of your scoring. So kudos to Bill. He won't be coaching today or tomorrow should the team still be playing. But after the procedure he had and the health scare that he had on Wednesday, he is feeling much, much better. All of Jayhawk Nation is rallying around him and excited to have him back next week when the bracket really starts to matter. And I would imagine that he'll be with us on Sunday for the post-bracket reveal press conference. So he's doing much better, and we're really excited that he got a great amount of care and medical help here in Kansas City from the University of Kansas Health System, and hopefully he's good as new come Monday when they attack the Big Dance.
Hey, man, Rob here, and of course our prayers continue with Coach Self, and glad to hear that news that he's going to make a recovery and do better. Definitely out there. You said something that really aged me because I can't think of a time that Kansas has not been successful. I'm 38, and I know there were some years before that, but you go back 2 decades. I'm a young guy then, and still a young guy, but a long time of success. How does this team and this program just stay, in such success mode where you don't get complacent with it?
Great question. And, to give some historical perspective to folks that are a little bit younger than you, the year that we didn't make the tournament, they had a postseason ban after Larry Brown left, and they'd won the national title the year before. So, and 2 years before that, they were in the Final Four with a team that was arguably even better. So they have had incredible success, not just in the 20 years under Bill Self or the 15 under Roy Williams, but Larry Brown's time here was phenomenal too, and Ted Owens before him. And so how do you keep the complacency from setting in? Probably because we've been outstanding in the regular season with the unprecedented 14 straight Big 12 titles, which broke John Wooden's UCLA record. But in some of those years, you had really good teams that fell well short of the ultimate prize. And in what is the most cruel and unfair postseason format, those are probably too strong of words to use, but what is the most difficult and unforgiving postseason format in all of American sports culture, we've had a lot of teams that shoulda, coulda, woulda made it to the Final Four and did not. Teams that could have cut down nets as national champions and did not. Roy Williams had a 97 team that had Rafe LaFleur and Paul Pierce and looked like world beaters. And as you know, you have one bad shooting night, one ill-timed injury or bad matchup, it's all over. There's no best of 3, best of 7. There's no comeback tomorrow. That's what I'm getting at. Your margin for error is so slim in a one-and-done format like this. And so Kansas, who has been the model of regular season dominance and consistency, unlike any program in the modern era. And guys, it's not close. I mean, go ahead and look up the conference championships with Coach K or anybody compared to Bill Self, John Wooden, on down the line, Jay Wright. It's not close. What Kansas has done in the regular season has been unparalleled and unmatched, but having that equate to Final Fours and national titles has been much more difficult to come by because obviously there's a lot of parity in college basketball today. And like I said, one bad day and you go home. And so that's been the cruel reality a lot of seasons for Kansas teams that have fallen short of their destiny. And many would tell you that the Jayhawk team that won it all last year was not one of Bill Self's top 5 most talented teams, and yet they put it all together when it mattered most. This time they caught some breaks in the bracket with some key injuries to the other team, not them themselves, and it all kind of came together for KU at that point. But I think that's been the big thing, because in the last 20 years under Bill Self, Kansas has tacked on 4 more Final Fours and 2 more national titles, and we've become the winningest program of all time in terms of wins. But the thing that Kansas, as one of the bluest of the blue bloods possible, lacks when compared to UCLA or Kentucky is the number of NCAA championships. And so just furthering their case as college basketball elite by having deeper March runs and more Final Four success is probably what drives this program more than anything. And Bill Self, by winning it last year, became one of just 15 or 16, depending on what you do with Louisville's vacated title, 16 coaches that have ever won 2 NCAA championships. Now, if he could tack on one more, then you jump into a tier of the truly elites of the elites. And he was a first ballot Hall of Famer already, based on 1 title and all the consecutive conference championships. But once you start getting into the 3 to 4 national title conversation, then you're talking about, truly one of the GOATs. And we feel he's that already. We feel he's the best coach in college basketball today after the retirement of Coach K, Coach Williams, and Coach Wright. But, that's what's driving him, and I think that's what fuels the fan base more than anything these days. We've got 64 conference championships. That's the most of any program, but it's the NCAA success that has eluded us, and here they are trying to, tack on one more here as we get set for March Madness.
And in good spot to do that. Again, Brian Haney, the voice of Kansas, with us on the Epic Companies hotline right now, taking on Iowa State tonight in the Big 12 Championships down in Kansas City at the T-Mobile Center. Number 1 Kansas versus number 5 Iowa State. Got the win over West Virginia back there yesterday, but this Iowa State team kind of upset the 4-seed Baylor 78-72. Still got Texas and TCU on the other side as well. Who do you think's coming out of this thing if it's not Kansas, and what does Kansas have to do to beat Iowa State?
Man, that's such a great question, because honestly, Texas has the most talent in this conference, 1 through 9 on their roster. KU may have the best 5 starters, and they undoubtedly have the best coach, but 1 through 9, Texas is the most talented team, and they've got the most experience of any team, and they've got 5 seniors they honored on Senior Day, and a couple of them have been playing college ball for 6 years. So they're a team that I would put up against anybody. But then I watched TCU last night, due to K-State, what they did to Kansas in Allen Fieldhouse earlier in league play, where they just scorched the nets, shot lights out. They're so athletic, whether it's Miller or Baugh, the length, the leaping ability and the way they get up and down the floor, full 94 feet. And Mike Miles, who was the preseason Big 12 Player of the Year, didn't have the year some thought because of injury, but tell you what, he's absolutely a superstar in this league. So your guess is as good as mine in the nightcap when Texas and TCU go toe-to-toe, because that thing could go either way. But Kansas to beat Iowa State, we've got to be everything that we weren't the last time we played them, because it was a loss in Ames February the 4th that inspired KU to go on a 7-game win streak and seize Bill Self's 17th Big 12 title in 20 years. When they got home from Ames that night, they had a meeting, first with the coaches, then with just the players, and they talked about how earlier that day they'd scored just 53 points, 26 of which came from Jalen Wilson. The other 4 starters combined for 18. It was punchless. It was tough to watch. It was not dynamic, and it looked like a team that could get bounced in the first weekend of the NCAA tournament if they ever played like that again. What proceeded from there was the very next game against Texas, Big Ten, or rather top 10 Big Monday showdown. They score 88 points, and only 2 of which came from Jalen Wilson. The rest of the guys got the message. Hey, we've got talent up and down this roster. Let's not just stand around and watch Jay Will do his thing. We've got to be more dynamic. We have to be a 4 or 5-headed monster where you can't just focus on one guy. And so we've seen Kansas play much more collectively great basketball, where it's the sum of the parts. And DeJuan Harris has been the biggest key at that. I think he's the most underrated point guard in America. And we've seen that over the course of this 7-game win streak that was snapped in Austin a week ago, but they got back on track yesterday. So Kansas needs to be versatile. They need to be dynamic. They want to get Grady Dick going early. They want to find a way to get shots in the paint. No, we don't have a back-to-the-basket big man that plays big minutes for us, but Kansas can still dominate points in the paint with the way their wings and guards drive the ball and get it up on the rim with high-percentage shots, and that's what I think they want to see more of here today. So those are some of the recipes, but Iowa State's as good as any team defensively that we will have played all year. And they know how to junk it up and put us in a meat grinder and hold us to 20 points below what we typically would score. So I'd love to see Kansas come out hitting early and play from out in front. Don't play this catch-up game that we've been stuck in many times this season, because on nights when you're forced to climb out of a 12 to 15-point hole, you got to have your firepower, and Iowa State's defensively minded to where they can take that away pretty quickly. So that's clearly something Kansas has to look out for today.
And Bison fans would know that is a T.J. Otzelberger coach team there in Iowa State, former SDSU head coach. Andy Rickoff, Rob Hipp, speaking here with Brian Haney on the Big 12s.
Hey, and I got one last quick brief question. I just kind of want to tie this in and bring it back to home as far as NDSU. What did you think of our guys this year? It was a great way to get out there and open up for NDSU. What were some of just your takeaways from this squad at NDSU with the men's basketball program?
Let me wax poetic on Coach Otzelberger, because while Jerome Tang won Big 12 Coach of the Year, and Kansas feels like Bill Self could be National Coach of the Year, there was a time early in the season before Iowa State hit a 4-game slide where they looked like they had the National Coach of the Year and the job he was doing. To lose his 2 best players from a Sweet 16 team and then put this club right back on a collision course for another deep March run, and he's got a 5-star recruit coming in next year. He has done a phenomenal job. But to go back to your original question, November the 10th, I had to really dial back the memory here because we've played so much ball since then. But
it seems like so long ago and also not that long ago, right, Brian?
The season always goes by in the blink of an eye, but then you look back on it and you're like, holy smokes, like yep. we've done 40 games, when it's all said and done. But I know it wasn't maybe representative of what you guys are capable of most nights, because you're going up against an elite level program in their house where Bill Self's 307 and 17 all time, and maybe it wasn't a great shooting day from 3. Just what were they, about 30% or so on that day. But I think we clearly saw the capability, particularly of the guards, to do some nice things for you. And they saw Jalen Wilson be who Jalen Wilson is on that day, but made sure defensively that other guys didn't go off against them. And we saw guys like Harris and Adams and Dick held well below their typical output. Kevin McCullough didn't scratch offensively hardly at all. So I think we saw some nice things there, but Kansas ultimately found a way to run away after that. But I do think that there's a lot to like about your program, and anytime we get together there's always a ton of respect because obviously a couple years back you put a real scare into us in the Fog. So a lot of respect for that program for sure.
There's been quite a few matchups over the last couple of years with Kansas and North Dakota State, and I got some great players. We made a run to our conference championship game. Unfortunately, fell a little bit short there against Oral Roberts. Hopefully better for you guys with the Kansas Jayhawks. They play in the semifinals tonight of the Big 12 championship against Iowa State, 6 p.m. Catch that game on ESPN or on the radio with Brian Haney, voice of the Kansas Jayhawks. Where can we find the broadcast tonight for you, Brian?
Oh, thanks for the plug, guys. I appreciate that. You know, the best way to listen is the Varsity Sports app, not just to us, but to anybody. You can hear almost every major conference college basketball program and a lot of the mid-majors, too, for free on the Varsity Sports app. No subscription service at all, and they're even going to have March Madness games, which is a first-time ever thing this year. So check that out with the Varsity Sports app. Guys, thanks as always for the platform. It's fun to be on with you. Hope folks didn't think we were trying to trot out too many accolades on our program here, but it truly is a feeling of gratitude and just how spoiled we are to get to cover a team like this and a coach like this. And I tell KU fans all the time, I hope you appreciate what you're watching because you'll probably never see it again with this type of regular season consistency and this type of overall win percentage. Bill Self is truly one of a kind, and we're all hoping he's back on Monday and ready to rock because we definitely feel like we've got an ace in the hole anytime he's on the sideline.
Yeah, absolutely. Wish the best there for Coach Self. And next time we have you on, we'll try and find the negatives about the program. Might take us a while, but we'll try to find maybe the one or two negatives out there. I really appreciate your time, Brian. Thanks for it.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
There you go, Brian Haney, the voice of the Kansas Jayhawks. And if there's any team that could win the national title and repeat as champions, man, I'd be willing to say they're going to be one of the favorites. They might be the number one overall seed. They're almost guaranteed, I think, at this point to be a number one seed or be on the one line, if you will, one of the four number ones in a region. But if they make a run, win another game tonight against Iowa State, I think they are the number one overall seed in the tournament. I would agree with Brian on that one. And a place where NDSU's played a couple of times over the last handful of seasons, and kind of a little bit of a relationship, I think, built there between Kansas and NDSU.
Yeah, it was a great experience being over at the Fog. It was my first time being in that facility, obviously, and just a tremendous atmosphere. I kind of describe it as like your old gymnasium, kind of high school feel, but on a mass scale.
Right.
With the metal bleachers and just the atmosphere. You feel like you're in this amazing, just old-time facility. And a lot of times, you would think, let's upgrade this place. No, leave the Fog the way it is. That's what makes it unique and special. Just leave the place the way it is.
Yep, and some places it's kind of, I think it's like Wrigley had a renovation, but Wrigley stayed up. Like, you're not going to tear down Wrigley Field, Fenway in baseball. There's certain iconic stadiums or arenas where you don't need to change them a whole lot. Maybe make some renovations, you update it, you give it a facelift, but you got to keep it. And I think the Fog is definitely one of them because it's, famous arena, but also has so much history of the game inside it.
Kansas is one of those teams, too, that it's weird because, I would go back in the NFL and talk about how I didn't like New England solely for the fact that it was because they were so good for so long. And it was just one of those. And fans, I think, sometimes build that up. There's some fans that are like me. They're like, yeah, they win all the time. They're not. I don't care to. I just don't want to be. Kansas is one of those schools, though, that no matter how much success they've had, I still like them. Like, they could go on and win 20 more times in my lifetime, and I would never dislike the Jayhawks.
Do I cheer for them to win? Like, it'd be great if Kansas got one. Probably not. No, but if they win it, it's like, yeah, they're a great program. Props to them. Another title for Self and another great tournament run for KU. I don't hate them by any means. No.
It's just like when the Patriots kept winning, though. I was like, oh, great, here we go again. You develop that fan hate for that team because they just kept winning all the time.
I think it's because of the difference of collegiate sports and professional sports. And I think we're more tied to the professional sports where you want your team to win it, and eventually you're sick and tired of, I think we're getting close. We're getting close to that point with the Chiefs.
You're saying it's a little easier to hate on the older guys than the young guys. It's basically at the end of the day.
They get paid the millions of dollars, and they, that comes with the territory, right? This hour of the Insiders on a Friday brought to you by Wimmer's Diamonds, a local family-owned jeweler serving and believing in this community for over 100 years. Stop in and see them at their new showroom, 4582 32nd Avenue South in Fargo today. Again, this hour of the Insiders brought to you by Wimmer's Diamonds. We'll take a break. We'll come back with plenty more, including recapping yesterday in the state high school boys and girls tournaments on the Class A side and take a look at the matchups for today.
Champions play here.
This man was a bona fide scrub. He can't play. No disrespect whatsoever, but I'm sorry to tell everybody the truth. He has small hands. He can't catch the ball.
You're home for the Thundering Herd. Bison 1660.
So most companies claim they have good people, good product, good customer service, but the question is how often. We go the extra mile to take care of our dealers and our growers, and more importantly, their families and their customers.
ProSeed tries to bring a family-like experience. Farmers, we want to understand what their challenges are. We also want to bring products to them that help them overcome those challenges so that they can be as successful as possible.
Need seed? Think ProSeed. ProSeed.net, great seed at a reasonable price.
Founded on family values, Dakota Underground is known for providing quality projects at superior timelines. Their 40-year reputation has been built by motivated people who work hard and always do the right thing. They're currently hiring heavy equipment operators, pipe layers, concrete finishers, and truck drivers to join their talented team. Learn on the job, work your way up, and earn a good living for you and your family. Easy apply online at DakotaUnderground.net. That's DakotaUnderground.net.
Snow, ice, and below zero temps. Typical Midwest weather, but not so kind to your vehicle. That's why Jiffy Lube of Fargo is here to make sure you have your vehicle in top working condition and ready for these winter roads and temps. Oil changes are the #1 maintenance item that's neglected. At Jiffy Lube of Fargo, no appointment needed at any of the 3 locally owned locations. Jiffy Lube of Fargo, where you can do more in a jiffy. Jiffy Lube of Fargo, proudly serving the metro area for 5 decades.
Dakota Refrigeration, now known as DRI, has been serving Minnesota, the Dakotas, and Montana for over 4 decades. Locally owned and operated since 1974, DRI is a full-service source for your refrigeration, heating, ventilation, air conditioning, and electrical service needs. From the entryway to the kitchen, from hot to cold, from dreary to bright, DRI has you covered. DRI, formerly Dakota Refrigeration, with locations in Fargo, Bismarck, and Minot, online at DACREF.com.
Looking for a challenging and rewarding opportunity as an electrical and instrumentation maintenance technician? Join the team at Theraldson Ethanol in Castleton. As an experienced electrician, you'll be responsible for maintaining and repairing large machinery and equipment, and will have the opportunity to learn and implement procedures specific to the ethanol industry. Journeyman electrical license or greater required. Work Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. and enjoy a competitive salary and benefits package. Apply at TheraldsonEthanol.com or send your resume to HR@TheraldsonEthanol.com.
Hi, I'm Cal. And I'm Casey. And we're Ryan Brothers Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Don't wait until that spring thaw to realize your sump pump is shot. Now is the perfect time to call us and get that spring checkup. Not only saving you time and trouble, but money too.
We only charge you for your time and parts, never any hidden fees or other surprises.
Ryan Brothers Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, where you always get the family rate.
Welcome to the family.
Are you an electrician? Are you looking for a change? JDP Electric is looking for commercial, industrial, and service electricians. JDP is looking for both journeyman and apprentice electricians. You could start your career today with a family-owned and operated business who's been serving our community for over 20 years. Full-time positions available with great pay and benefits. Call 701-232-1991 or email info@jdpelectric.net. Start your new tomorrow today. Come be a part of the JDP difference.
Here's your Red River Valley weather update on Bison 1660.
Expect mostly cloudy skies on your Friday with a high around 29 degrees. Overnight, a 90% chance of snow mainly after midnight. Accumulations of 2 to 4 inches possible with lows in the low 20s. This weather update brought to you by Minn Kota Windows. Just when your kids thought it was time to head outside, a cold snap rolls in. Ditch the coat and snuggle up with peace of mind, knowing that Minn Kota's energy-efficient vinyl will block out the brutal cold and save you money. Midwest built, Midwest tough, guaranteed for life.
This is NDSU head men's basketball coach Dave Richmond, and you're listening to The Insiders on your home for NDSU Athletics, Bison 1660.
Welcome back into The Insiders. Final day of the week. I think we'll catch up with Dexter Warner one more time on Monday. Kind of catch up with him to round out the season for NDSU men's basketball. Hopefully, see, on Sunday we'll know what the WNIT field is for NDSU women's basketball. We'll know what the field looks like but you don't know the bracket. They announce the field, then they go through the bid process to see who's going to host, and then they announce the bracket sometime on Monday. Hopefully it's early in the day. Maybe we'll have that by the end of the show, but talk about that with Dexter as well there on Monday. And a whole lot more guests, maybe getting into NFL draft heavy conversation with some of those NFL draft experts that were at the Combine and hear what they have to say about our guys, Noah Gindorf and Hunter Lipke, and, of course, Cody Malk, who is continuing to climb up the draft boards.
Yeah, number 5. Saw it on the ticker there on NFL Network as a tackle. They've got him at number 5, but, man, he can play anywhere on that line.
And I think he's going to end up being an interior lineman.
I think so. Maybe
guard or center.
Center is where I would think.
I think center class looks like it's kind of thin. I haven't seen a lot of centers like high up on mock drafts, so maybe the center class is kind of thin. I think he's maybe best at guard, but he can absolutely do any of the 5 positions. And if you need a center badly and you think he fits, like, what if the Bengals drafted him? Just put him right next to Cordell. That'd be great.
Where do you want to see him? Like, I of course, I want to see him anywhere would be great, but I would love to see him in that guard position because I just like how he can manhandle everybody.
I think guard works best for him. And, center position, you got to worry about snapping the ball and then getting up, where that defensive tackle has a split-second edge on you. I'd rather him, because he can play center, but he didn't really do that here at NDSU, right? So I think I'd rather probably see him at a left or right guard position. I think those ones fit him perfectly.
Well, while we were on the discussion about basketball a few moments ago, have a little bit of breaking news that came in from NDSU a little bit earlier in the show, and
let you break it.
So a little breaking news.
NDSU men's basketball.
NDSU men's basketball. I had to give a little honor here on the breaking news to my good buddy Cameron Greer. He has been hired as the NDSU men's basketball director of operations. And the reason I wanted to make that, dramatic is because Cam is a great guy. He deserves that, deserves a great intro, but more importantly, a great human. North Dakota State University men's basketball, this is from the official release a few moments ago. Dave Richmond, the head coach, has announced the hiring of Cameron Greer as the program's director of basketball ops. Greer served as a graduate manager for the Bison during this past season, where he did a phenomenal job coordinating the travel, the meals, day-to-day logistics, directing the program's student managers, organizing community involvement opportunities, and much more. Got to know Cam. We quickly became friends with him, and very excited for this young man. He had said it's truly a blessing to continue serving this program. Said Greer, I'm grateful to Coach Richmond, our entire staff, our players, athletic administration, and the opportunity to continue growing in my young coaching career. I look forward to further contributing to the development of high-level athletes and respectful young men and the ongoing success of the overall program. And then just one final quote here from head coach Dave Richmond. He said, Coach Greer has exceeded our expectations and continued to move our championship standards forward. His passion for the game of basketball and unique talent for building relationships and establishing trust make him an ideal fit for our Bison family, elevating our expectations of excellence in everything we do. So, again, congratulations to Cam. I was hoping that he would get kind of a paid opportunity, and he's got that now. And he is one of the best young men that you can meet. And, again, a very well wishes and success to Cam as he goes forward. Great guy.
And, he was kind of thrown into that position.
He was.
Very
absolutely.
late, right before the season got going. They had the director of ops position just kind of open up, unfortunately. And, they needed someone to do it. And Cam was around the program. He had been there for a little bit. And Dave Richmond, like he does, a great delegator, just kind of entrusted Cam and said, hey, we need someone here. And Cam stepped up, and when you do that and you have the success that he had, he was very good there. From everything we heard on the trips, everything went really smoothly, which is not an easy thing to do. I mean, give you a little insight. They're scheduling, the hotels, the flights, the buses, the meals, every meal that gets picked up, whether breakfast, lunch, dinner, post-game, pre-game meals, where they're going to go for team meetings, for film, for scout, when they get in for a shoot-around on the road, where the other team can get in, or when the other team can get in when they come visit Fargo. There's a lot on those director of ops plates. Cam did a great job with that. Michaela Schulke on the women's side was phenomenal. Class A, perfect job there. Very great with us the whole season. So they do a lot of work behind the scenes on both basketball programs.
Yeah, texted Cam earlier and said congrats, and I know that he's going to have just tremendous success as he continues on. And you're right about all the things that these guys have to work through, and young ladies. I mean, one of them, we get to the airport, and we're starting to go through the line. Well, with the men's program, we had the TSA pre-check so we could get through the airport faster whenever we flew a lot of those commercial flights. There's a couple of flights that were chartered. You don't have to worry about it. But there was a situation to where all of a sudden half of our tickets didn't have TSA pre-check written on them. And so he had to figure out a way to quickly, cool, calm, and collected, get that fixed, and he did a great job.
Yep, stuff like that happens all the time on the road where a ticket's on the wrong flight or something else has to be changed, and they all do a great job with that with all the sports. But specifically, congratulations there to Cam on the big honor, director of ops there for NDSU men's basketball. Very well deserved. Used to be the position of one Spencer Wilker, who's now an assistant coach. So there have been some upgrades over that, or some promotions throughout that program the last couple of seasons. Let's take a look at the boys and girls, the Super A going on here in Fargo, something Micah Bindi knows all too much about back in his high school days with the Davies Eagles. And the Super A on the boys and girls side here in Fargo. Girls playing at the Shack. Boys been playing at the Fargo Dome there in day number 1. Semifinals now, though. Congratulations, Micah. Your boys did it. The Davies Eagles, 64-46 over Jamestown. The 1 seed in the East advances. So the Eagles live to fight another day, and they'll be taking on a little bit of a Cinderella story. The Grand Forks Red River Rough Riders made it a state sweep of Minot yesterday in the boys and girls tournaments. Both teams for Red River getting the win over Minot, but defending state champs on the boys' side, Minot falls 81-80 as a buzzer beater in that game for Grand Forks Red River. Zach Kraft, a little layup at the buzzer to win it, and they'll be taking on Davies today.
Not too worried. Not too worried. I'm going to call my shot right now, and it's not going to put some bad juju on the Davies Eagles. This team is dominant. They have great players, great coach, obviously, as well. Just a great staff as well. One of my former teammates, Matt Veit, is on the coaching staff as well. I'm not worried at all.
Injuries right now, though. Mason Clabo still not playing, it looks like, so.
They still got dogs. They got that dog in them.
Okay, Cole Jurek.
It's Davies in the championship already.
So this year, Davies has faced Grand Forks Red River twice. Back on December 29th, they were in Grand Forks at Red River, won it 72-71, 1-point victory there. Against Grand Forks Red River at Davies, they won 90-68, much more dominant at home than they were on the road.
Sleeping in your own bed, it can do that, and they're sleeping in their own bed because they're in Fargo. So maybe Grand Forks Red River, maybe they make the trek down since it's just only an hour, but I guess I don't know if they're staying in a hotel. I'd imagine a high school that's only an hour away, I bet they traveled back up to Grand Forks after their game last night. So they did get to sleep in their own bed, but they have to travel to Fargo. So I'm going to take Davies. I'll take Davies by 10 points.
Will you be at the championship game then?
No, I'll be in Florida.
Wow, real good alumni. We're supportive of the program.
I'll be able to watch it, though.
Disappointed.
I'll be able to watch it. It'll be so easy. It'll be a breeze in the semis.
Okay.
It's gonna be
Call in your shot.
Davies and North.
I'm gonna remind you about this when you come back. If Red River already the Cinderella, one upset over the defending state champs there in Minot. Bismarck Century also beat Shanley, handled them well. The 1 seed from the West goes on with a 77-45 victory. They will take on Fargo North with the Sem brothers, who barely got by Bismarck Legacy, 82-80 the final there. The Spartans did hold on. One of the more entertaining or electrifying teams probably in the state. Dunks are obviously exciting. Got some athleticism there. The Sems are really good. Need both of them to elevate themselves if they're going to beat the 1 seed from the West in Bismarck Century.
Absolutely. Century's always been a really good program. They have great talent there year in and year out. Fargo North, they weren't always the best school in basketball when I was in high school, but they're really good this year. Very entertaining to watch, the Sem brothers. I know one of them, I believe Jeremiah Sem, is super athletic, probably a guy that's going to be going into college Division I basketball at some point.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they're going to be playing somewhere. Fargo North, though, owes the Sem family a debt of gratitude because they have had some great players there over the last couple or handful of years. Been a lot of them kind of cycling through that program, and they've been good. Consistency for Fargo North over the last couple of years has been nice to see on a lot of sports, football as well. They've made the state tournament a couple of times and had some success there on a lot of sports as one of the smaller schools here in town. On the girls' side, West Fargo Cheyenne is the 1 seed. They won 70-57 over Bismarck Legacy. They'll take on the 2 seed from the West, Bismarck Century, with the win 69-64 over Fargo Davies. That one lived up to the billing as two of the top teams in the state all season long, but they get the 2 and the 3 seeds because of the way the conference tournaments kind of panned out the way they happened, and ends up being the matchup there on the girls' side, Bismarck Century and Fargo Davies in the first round, and it was everything you thought it would be, 69-64, Century with the win. And then Grand Forks Red River, the 4 seed from the East, upsets the 1 seed from the West, 50-43. A lot of turnovers playing a factor in that one. I think Minot turned it over 18 times. Grand Forks Red River only 6. The Rough Riders move on in that one. They'll take on West Fargo with Bison commit Mariley Simon on that team as well. A 65-59 win for West Fargo over Bismarck High. So Grand Forks, Red River, and West Fargo, 3 East teams, 1 West team remain.
I see a trend on both the boys and the girls. There's oddly enough 3 East teams in the championship semis. I'm not going to say I'm biased, but I'm maybe a little biased. But the
East side of the state
EDC rules.
There you go.
EDC rules. They ain't touching us in the West.
Well, watch out for Bismarck Century in both. The pretty talented squads have had quite the track record of winning these state tournaments, whether they be on the west side or the east side of the state. But that's the updates for you. Games at 6:30 and 8:30 tonight on the boys' side, and on the girls' side, the semifinals going on here in about 20 minutes. West Fargo, Cheyenne, and Bismarck Century, and then Grand Forks, Red River, and West Fargo later on at 3 o'clock there on the girls' side for the Super A. Great tournament, right? You played in it. You were part of it, at least with Fargo Davies. I'm just going to say it.
I was a hard worker, man. I was
you
a hard worker, scrappy
I'm right
guy.
there with you. I was a scrappy defender, great rebounder, hardworking guy. I didn't even make my varsity team, so you did better than me.
Yeah, I was a part of a couple teams that made it to state. We had one that sticks in my mind was when we were playing Dickinson when they had Anand Moody and Jordan Meidinger, 7-footer that ended up going to NDSU for a little bit.
Moody was playing with Montana now. He's actually in the Shield Center this year.
Yep, absolutely. So I remember that matchup, and then we had a heartbreaker in the championship semis versus the West Fargo Packers, and then I believe the Packers won that year. They won it all with some good talent on their
Joe
team.
Pistorius on that team?
Yes. Yep. Joe
I still
Pistorius.
think one of the better players I've seen in this area ended up not playing collegiate, but
heck of a scorer.
Yep.
Have they instituted in North Dakota for high school shot clock yet?
Yeah, we've always had shot clock.
Okay, in Texas, no shot clock in high school ball.
That's dumb.
So your scoring is what, 10-8?
Yeah, it's nuts. Well, they do score, but there's things where the officials will, over time they'll say, all right, it's time to start moving the ball a little bit. Yeah, no shot clocks. That's been a big deal and an argument that continues to go back and forth of, hey, it's time to get the shot clock in high school ball.
They're
in Texas.
finally getting it completely statewide, I believe, in Minnesota, and that's been a big talking point for a long time because there are teams who are severely undermatched, and their way is we're going to hold the ball. And it's going to be a 4-possession game. You better make your shots, and it's just dumb.
That's not basketball.
One, it's dumb because it's not basketball, and 2, you're not helping the kids at all. You're not teaching them anything. They're not developing their skills. If anything, you're telling your team, if you're the coach saying we're just going to use up the entire game and not shoot, you're telling them we're inferior and we can't win this game. The only way we can win it is by basically not making it a game.
You could just sit down, cross your legs, and play a little hopscotch or whatever you want to do there, and all of a sudden you've won the game. Yeah, it's something that needs to be done. I'm glad they do it here in North Dakota. It's a huge thing, and it does. It progresses your development because at the next level, you have the shot clock. You got to learn how to utilize it and that's a major factor in the game.
Yeah, play the game. So I'm happy that they have it here in the state of North Dakota. Moving to a 3-class system starting next year with 2A, 1A, and Class B for boys and girls basketball. I think that is a good change. Gives more schools an opportunity to compete at the state level, to go to the state tournament, and more opportunity for the kids to win a state title, which I think is all good.
Yeah, there's different populations. We know there's a bunch of small schools, and then there's just different varying levels of how many kids are going to each school. And sometimes you have to combine a bunch of small schools just to get one team together. So I like that they're making more classes, more opportunities for kids to keep working at their craft.
I think the 2A level, I think they'll all be pretty competitive, but that 2A level, because it's got some drop downs from Class A, some bump ups from Class B. It's going to be one of the most competitive divisions we've had in a little while, I think. It's going to be a great tournament.
I think it's great, too, when you've got guys like a Grant Nelson that's had so much notoriety here in North Dakota. Just think about the example. And we talked to Coach yesterday about
Bowden
that.
Scunberg, too.
But yeah, and Bowden as well. Yeah, I don't want to leave him out. But you think of those guys and just how much that they are helping high school kids here and just their dreams of saying, you know what, we can be in North Dakota. We can play at a great school like an NDSU. And if we put in the work and the effort, we've got a good chance at getting to that high level.
You know who else kind of created that story for people? Adam Thielen, coming from Detroit Lakes, Minnesota, all the way to the Vikings. Great story, and Micah just wants him gone.
What a great story. What a great story, and now the story's done with him in Minnesota.
For those that haven't heard, Adam Thielen.
Adam
Thielen, released by the Vikings, cut, waiver, goes on to free agency, is a cap casualty, as they would say. They saved like $13 million against the cap, so it makes a lot of sense on both sides. But that was the news from earlier today. He is going to be a Ring of Honor member.
Yes, I agree. He's a top 5 wide receiver in Minnesota Vikings history. You can
That's
say
saying
that.
something. They've had some pretty good receivers.
You can say that. You have Chris Carter in there. You have Randy Moss in there. Justin Jefferson, I'm already going to put him in there.
Yep.
I saw a list. Somebody who had Anthony Carter in there as well, and then Adam Thielen. I don't know how many else you can argue.
Yeah, there's a few other decent receivers. Jake Reed was pretty good, but yeah, there's a list. But Adam Thielen's absolutely, he's worked himself onto that list. Longevity as well of being a Viking for a long time. I think you can make the argument that Adam Thielen absolutely deserves that honor, and he will be a Ring of Honor member whenever he decides to retire. I hope he goes to a good team and has a chance to win a Super Bowl in this next season. We'll see what happens with him. I'll take our final break of the show. When we come back, I've got some news for you on the other side. So stay tuned here. Last segment of the week on The Insiders.
Bison Nation, your exclusive home for North Dakota State Athletics. Bison 1660.
Dakota Refrigeration, now known as DRI, has been serving Minnesota, the Dakotas, and Montana for over 4 decades. Locally owned and operated since 1974, DRI is a full-service source for your refrigeration, heating, ventilation, air conditioning, and electrical service needs. From the entryway to the kitchen, from hot to cold, from dreary to bright, DRI has you covered. DRI, formerly Dakota Refrigeration, with locations in Fargo, Bismarck, and Minot, online at dacref.com.
Wimmers Diamonds is inviting you to our big band event. Not that kind of band. It's our wedding band event, and it's happening March 14th, 15th, and 16th, with hundreds of ring styles to view and try. Enjoy stack savings with 10, 20, 30% off. Swing into Wimmers March 14th, 15th, or 16th. 4582 32nd Avenue South in Fargo.
Hey, business owners. You have your banker, you have your insurance guy, but do you have your door guy? Now you do. DavTech Window Services also specializes in commercial door and window repair and replacement. DavTech is proud to be known for their excellent commercial services as on the NDSU campus. Choose the door and window experts that will deliver top-rated products as well as the experienced technicians that do it right the first time. A decade of service with a century of experience. Online at DavTechWindowServices.com. That's DavTechWindowServices.com.
Hey, hon, gotta go. I got pizza. The pizza's calling me.
Honey, are you going out in the cold with the guys again?
Well, yeah, there's gonna be Pizza Patrol.
Is that why you go ice fishing?
Hello, there's gonna be Pizza Patrol.
Can we watch a movie tonight once you get back?
If you order Pizza Patrol, I'm there.
Call 241-9000 or order online at 241-9000.com.
And I just want to was that a yes? Like, there will be Pizza Patrol.
You are on the service, I keep them on the road. You know you really are for the Pizza Patrol.
Get the perfect fit at Shields with a custom golf fitting experience. Let their experts fit you with a new set of woods, irons, short game, even a full bag to improve your distance, accuracy, and confidence. Limited spots available. Visit shields.com/Fargo events to lock in your spot during the event. Receive a $50 Shields gift card, plus giveaways and event exclusives for those who register for the Shields Custom Golf Fitting Experience, March 13th through the 17th at Shields on 45th Street.
This is your Bison 1660 Metro Man. Don't miss the Home and Sports Show March 25th and 26th in Detroit Lakes at Kent Freeman Arena. See the latest in home building, remodeling, and outdoor recreation. More info at lakeregionbuilders.com. The El Zagel Shrine Circus is coming to the Fargo Dome March 31st through April 2nd. See high wire acts, motocross, the Pork Chop Review, and much more. 6 shows, 1 incredible circus. Get your tickets today.
About a month ago, we had some unexpected plumbing issues. We called Valley Service Mechanical in a panic and were pleasantly surprised with the professional that came to our rescue. He took the time to explain the issues to us, and you could really tell he enjoyed what he was doing and the pride he had representing Valley Service Mechanical.
When your heating and cooling needs help and your plumbing is on the fritz, call Valley Service Mechanical, 701-293-5701. Online at valleyservice.net.
Are you an electrician? Are you looking for a change? JDP Electric is looking for commercial, industrial, and service electricians. JDP is looking for both journeyman and apprentice electricians. You could start your career today with a family-owned and operated business who's been serving our community for over 20 years. Full-time positions available with great pay and benefits. Call 701-232-1991 or email info@jdpelectric.net. Start your new tomorrow today. Come be a part of the JDP difference.
Take us with you wherever you go with the Bison 1660 app, powered by Thunder Seed, first in the field. Now, back to the Insiders.
Welcome back at it here on the Insiders. Thanks for joining us on a sunny for now Friday. But guess what, friends? It's not going to last long. There's some winter weather coming in, so snuggle up, cozy up, do whatever you got to do, and stay safe this weekend.
We have a Rob Hipp weather report.
We do. Today it's going to be sunny for a while, and then snow moving in, possibly 3 to 7 inches over the next couple of days. So be careful out there. And for the official weather, make sure to follow the Weather Service because they're the guys that are in charge of that, Andy.
Go to our website, bison1660.com.
Yeah, or Bison1660. And when I say follow the weather guys, bison1660.com. Well, this segment is brought to you by our friends at Wimmer's Diamonds. For 103 years, they've watched you fall in love and stay in love, providing beautiful reminders to celebrate all your special moments. That's Wimmer's Diamonds, 4582 32nd Avenue South in Fargo. Well, a little bit of news for you, Bison Nation. We just wrapped up a great football season. I know that it wasn't the way that Bison Nation wanted to end or on a lot of aspects, but you know what? You get to a national championship, a lot to be proud there. And then basketball season just wrapping up as well. And, you're around these programs that are not just historic, but programs of excellence. And when I came here, a little under a year ago, that was the first thing that I knew. And when I got to know Jeff Culhane, I knew about excellence. And whenever I saw the Bison logo and these teams and the coaching staff, that's the one word that I've resonated throughout this community is just how excellent this program is. It is with a heavy heart today, though, and I didn't want to make a big deal out of this, but I bid farewell to you, Bison Nation, as the voice of the Bison. I've enjoyed every moment of being on this incredible journey with you all. And as I leave, I would like to express my gratitude to Radio FM Media, Learfield, and NDSU for giving me the opportunity to serve as the voice of the Bison. I'd like to extend my deepest appreciation to you, the listeners, to Bison Nation, who have tuned in to listen to my broadcast and to cheer on the Bison. It's not about me, though. It's about this program. Most importantly, it's about the student-athletes. And your passion and support for this team are truly inspiring, and it has been an honor to be a very, very small part of it. It was a tough decision for Bridget and I, but with a new baby on the way in July, we wanted to be around our support system. And I know that when I came here, I said, we want to get rooted here. We want to make this a career move. And I do mean that. But life changes and things happen. And when we found out the announcement of our baby being here, it was a tough decision, but we knew that we wanted to be back around my mother. As she continues to age, I wanted to be around our family. Her sister just had her third baby. My brother is expecting a child. Her brother had a child. And so within that nucleus of literally 2 hours, we can be back around family. So I do just briefly want to thank some folks at Radio FM Media, Nancy Odney. Appreciate you, Nancy, for believing in me. Jim Ingstead and what he's been able to do in this community for so many years. I appreciate you. On the Learfield side, Josh Hartman, Tom Bowman, Drew Westford. Incredible, incredible organization to work with. And then here at Bison 1660, you, Andy, have been tremendous to work with, doing a great job as program director. Micah and I had a chat earlier, and I believe that Micah has a lot of great things in his future as well. Cole Ilanimi. On the broadcast side, Phil Hansen and I, we had a great 30-minute conversation last night. Truly a privilege to work with the best that I've ever worked for at this level. Phil Hansen is a godsend to this community. Dexter Werner, Cole Jurek, Kyle Emanuel, James Hendricks, Kevin and Bridget Kessler, Jake Bechtold, all important parts of the broadcast team. I want to thank the great folks at NDSU and Matt Larsman and Todd Phelps and Scott Walken. Coach Entz, incredible coach. You don't know how much I appreciate you and the things that I learned during this season. And also Coach Richmond. Both of you have made everlasting impacts in my life, and I owe you a big heartfelt thank you for everything that you've done. And also guys behind the scenes that do so much. Ryan Peralt, Wes Offerman, Scott Anderson, Cole Heim. All the staff at NDSU does it the right way, from the administrators all the way down to my buddy George that's there at the shack that helps clean up after the games. Tremendous honor to get to know all of you. I also want to thank Bridget for always supporting my dreams and goals. She has been with me on this crazy journey, literally over the last 10 years when I decided to get into this industry. And most importantly, as I said earlier, to you, Bison Nation, it doesn't get any better than the fan base here at North Dakota State. And I thank you again for the privilege that I was able to be here and be the voice of the Bison for this short year. Hey, I'll forever be a Bison. I know that I was down in East Texas for a while, and I'll forever be a part of that team as well. But you've accepted me and allowed me in here, and you don't know how much that means. I love you all. I'm forever grateful for this privilege. And one last time for me, horns up and go Bison. God bless.
Sad to see you go. And that was the news we wanted to share today. Again, didn't want to make a big deal of it, and that was the way you wanted it to go, and more than happy to do that. Going to miss you. It's been fun having you around here. I know the Fargo community is, they embrace really well. They kind of get attached pretty quickly, so this will be difficult for some of them out there as well. The show is going to continue. We will have Kyle Emanuel joining us starting on Monday, myself and Kyle. We're used to that. I think it's going to be fine. Kyle does a great job, but I'm not going to be quite the same without us making fun of the Cowboys every once in a while. Like, how am I going to do that now going forward? But in all seriousness, you did a great job. Happy you came aboard, and I hope this year was good for you overall. Sad to see you go. Wish it had worked out for a little bit longer, but family calls when family calls, and I absolutely 100% understand as a guy that I'm 4 hours away from most of my family, and every once in a while it feels like it's a little bit further than just 4 hours. So absolutely understand wanting to be a little bit closer to them, and with a baby on the way as well. And you mentioned your whole family's basically having them at the same time as well. So I understand that, and all the best to you, Bridget, Braylon, and everybody else there with you.
Yeah, appreciate it, Andy, and it's been a tremendous ride with you guys, and I wish you all the best. I wish Bison Nation the best, and I'm always a phone call away, and just like in East Texas, leaving here on great terms, and just a tremendous honor to be a part of it and to get to know Matt and everybody, and it's been awesome, and it's something I'll forever be grateful for, and I'll stay in touch. It's the opportunities. I don't know what kind of lies in the future back in Texas, but we do know that, all things work together for those that love the Lord, and I'm excited about that and excited that I've made so many tremendous friends here. Darla Jean, I still have your books, and I will get those to you. Don't worry. But she let me borrow some books.
Are you going to bring your snowblower with you?
No, I got to sell the snowblower, but this isn't a PSA to sell the snowblower. So.
If you ever need a snowbank to jump into, we got you covered.
That's right. Great fans, like guys like Brian who chimed in, and Steve, so many great people, and and Ian's going to do a great job as he continues on here. Micah's going to kick tail, and what a great ride over this last year. Been a lot of fun.
You didn't have to include Cole Jurek in all the thank yous, by the way. Didn't have to.
I did. He's a great human.
Yeah, great dude. That'll do it for us on the show today. Best of luck, my friend.
Thank you, Andy.
We'll stay in touch. We'll have you on the show at some point. Of course, we know that's going to happen too. So the future is me and Kyle coming back on Monday with you on the Insiders.
Can I end with my signature sign-off?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Want to remind you today that we're not strong enough alone to make it on our own. We need each other. Provide a word of encouragement. Lend a hand of support. Somebody out there needs you, Bison Nation. One last time, horns up, go Bison. Good afternoon, and God bless.